And when they voted to continue or not, what was your gut feeling as they went into that evening?
Yeah, I thought that going into the evening it would be that they would take no action.
Welcome to Sikkim 365 Radio.
Webb this time Gaither left side, has room, bounces, and he will score. Untouched. Touchdown. 19 yards.
Sikkim 365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Berg and Foxley the assists. Now the puck comes in front, and Gurianov scores!
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Here it comes. Here it. Watch out! Comes! Wow! Is this all really happening? What a putt. That is from 66 feet.
Are you a Sikkim 365 super fan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at Sikkim365.com.
Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
All right, here we go. This Monday afternoon on August the 31st. It's hard to believe, but September is here. The last 3 to 4 months seem like they've taken 12, but September 1st tomorrow, Labor Day late this year. It's on Monday, a week from today. High school football into week number 2. College football technically into week number 2 because Central Arkansas won a game on, Saturday night or whenever it was. Baylor will start a week from Saturday along with many others. Baylor had a second scrimmage. Rangers are trying to have a wholesale of trades to try to pump up their prospects at higher levels, they hope, that might be the future of this team, because right now their future is they may not win 20 games out of the 60. And we are loaded up with a lot of guests, including we're about to hear from parts of Dave Aranda from earlier today, his media session, which will be his regular time, 11:35 on Mondays. Colt put up the entire video of the press conference earlier today on Sikkim365.com. So, here's what I was told. A couple of people told me about the scrimmage Baylor had. Better than last week. Treston Ebner was good, really good. The offensive line is getting better. Bernard and Petrie are studs.
Yeah, that vibes with everything that we've heard so far. I mean, we've heard a lot about Treston Ebner, and the Dave Aranda conference call today, I didn't do a very good job of kind of picking my spot. Plus, I was having a microphone issue, so I texted Smokey. I was like, hey, can you ask this question about the running backs? And the conference got cut off before we had a chance to. But I do intend on somehow or another figuring out my microphone issue or having one of you guys ask the next session we have with Dave Aranda about running backs not named Treston Ebner, because he's the one guy we've heard about a lot about. We haven't heard too much about John Lovett or really, for that matter, any of the other young running backs. But that's more praise for the O-line, so that's great. That's more praise for Ebner. He's obviously impressing. And on Petrie, I mean, he may be the guy we've heard the most about throughout the entire preseason. I mean, quite frankly, he's been brought up in every single media session, and I don't know if that's just a fascination with this new star position or what, or it's just that he's doing that great of a job, but he must be doing a great job, so that's encouraging to hear.
Well, it's probably his time. I mean, we've been kind of waiting on him for a couple years to really, step up and a role in that defense. I think hearing the offensive line continues to improve is good, because this team's only going to get better or improve. I don't know about better than last year. And I don't know how you're going to gauge teams in this kind of weird season, but the only way that they're going to have a good year to me and Dave Aranda's first year is if the offensive line is better than it was last year. They can't keep kind of spinning their wheels up front there. It's going to be bad if they do.
Yeah, no, they got to get that fixed. And Aranda even said, we had the media session with him on Saturday, that Charlie Brewer looked really, really good and comfortable in a 2-minute drill. He looked good, but I even had a couple of that may have been at the scrimmage that kind of told me, they were like, I still have faith. I was like, well, that sounded ominous. And then I had some go-to people that kind of clarified that for me, and they felt like that's kind of the little notes that I got along the way. By the way, on the defense, Sam Bradshaw, he is fantastic at breaking down the schemes, offense and defense, in Sikkim365.com in the premium section. Story that's up. New Baylor defense preview, part 1, base scheme and personnel. This is very expansive. If you print it out, it's like 8 pages long, but there's actual images, and it attaches names of the positions, star, jack, etc., to what Ron Roberts has done, what Dave Aranda has done, what Baylor has been doing, and what they might do. It's very detailed. He'll join us starting this week. I think it's like Thursdays, to break down a lot of this stuff that is almost like football X's and O's porn.
Yeah, that's what he does. He loves it. I mean, he'll watch film hours and hours just locked in a dark room.
Yeah, I mean, that's become quite a interesting kind of internet birth position, is the analyst, right? The X's and O's guys that breaks it down. We see that all over the NFL, and we've seen that with a lot of writers in college football, and Sam is one of those. He's one of the better ones out there. He's the best one when it comes to Baylor. I'd say Football Bob also has done a great job over the years as well in breaking it down on the premium board, and that's another incentive for signing up and becoming a premium member is the breakdowns and the X's and O's that you can get. So definitely look forward to checking that out. Haven't had a chance to read it yet, but I know it'll be good if Sam did it.
We will have our Central Texas High School Players of the Week. We'll release that today at 4:45. Also, Brian Etheridge has gained a 2-stroke advantage after the first round of the Fuddruckers High School Football Pick'em Contest. There's a couple of swing games, and I mentioned this when we picked our games last week. Salado and Troy was one. That's definitely one. And Salado ends up winning by 17. Had like 2 or 3 running backs over 100 yards. Robochik had 260, 80 yards again, 4 touchdowns, but not enough. And now Salado gets to play Grandview. One of the great games this week. We'll have it on Sikkim 365 Radio, 106.7 The Eagle. Connolly and La Vega, the 49th meeting between these two right next to each other rivals. And I was at La Vega today speaking with Don Hyde. I'll be at Connolly tomorrow as we study and get ready for that game broadcast at Willie Williams Stadium. I saw Willie. I saw Coach Coleman along with the others on staff today. So that game will be on Friday. Before we get back to that, Grandview, and once again, Grandview and Malakoff had another great game, went overtime. Grandview won it, 2-time defending champions. And Academy under Chris Lancaster beat Rogers. It's a nice win for them and a couple of other new coaches. Our buddy Flippin and Masters at Hubbard, and then at also Walnut Springs, a couple of the debut coaches, they won, as did Chris Lancaster as well.
Yeah, Connolly looked good in areas on Friday night. It was great to get that broadcast going and great to get that Connolly schedule started up and get these broadcasts on Sikkim 365 Radio started up. So that was fun just to be out there. It was definitely different, but similar to kind of what we're used to, but different. Just as far as I think fans are a little bit hesitant to go too crazy in the masks and the heat and all the things like that. So, there was some moments where I'm like, man, it's a little quiet out here. But other than that, it was high school football. And I'll tell you, with Connolly and La Vega, this is going to be a fun game. I know it'll be much hyped up all week. And Connolly's got a heck of a running game. They got a couple really good backs that we saw in Wisner and obviously with Gaither, their best player. Those two guys went off on Friday night. But the concern is La Vega's got a really good defense, and they had like 5 guys this week with like 15-plus tackles. There was like 5 guys from La Vega you could have picked for player of the week on defense. They're not going to let Connolly just run the football. So Connolly is going to have to pass the ball, and they were not able to do that, nor did they really try that often to do that on Friday night.
They were 0 for 4 and had a pick 6, and then also what should have been another pick. By the way, Ken Rosenthal about 10 minutes ago said Lance Lynn to the Dodgers, but T.R. Sullivan said nope. Trade deadline has passed. Word from Arlington, the Rangers are done. Lance Lynn and Joey Gallo both staying. I thought they were going to unload everybody today. and just get as much as they possibly could out of the trades.
Hey,
but
buy hard on the Padres.
Yeah.
They're going for it.
Mike Clevenger goes to San Diego. That's another trade. Couple of college football notes. Didn't hear from Dave Aranda. Byron Hanspard Sr., the former Texas Tech star, played in the NFL. His son, Byron Hanspard Jr., is one of those that's born and raised leader. He'll join us today. Senior will join us today at 3:20. Also, Colin Brent's today, 5:15. Michael Woodson, the new men's tennis coach at Baylor, will join us at 4:30 among some high school coaches, Mark Crawford and Dublin. Jamar Chase is leaving early, and so is Memphis running back Kenny Gainwell.
TJ says on the Rangers, honestly was hoping for Odor to be moved. Should be able to get a tub of bubble gum for him. There's some talk the Red Sox were going to trade him for Eovaldi, but I guess that didn't happen. So
yeah, Odor's done two things. Had one big year and also punched somebody.
That's all, and that was like 5 years ago.
Leonard Fournette released. You talk about he had one good year. He was really good his rookie year. He ended up costing them, didn't he have like a $27 million guaranteed contract?
Well, the thing to be upset about if you're a Jaguars fan is you got nothing for him.
$17.8 million signing bonus.
You got nothing for him. So he's just out on the market. He can go sign a new contract anywhere that he wants, and you got no young players or anything proven. Yeah,
Jokel's gone. Blackman, of course, suspended. Jokel was declined because of injuries. Bortles extended, but Fowler traded. Ramsey traded. Fournette inactive, now gone. Gabbert traded. Harvey cut. Monroe traded. Aluioa. I mean, it's been a disaster. Some of that was Tom Coughlin.
And I think I'm going to bet Leonard Fournette to the Washington Football Club. I'm sorry.
I almost said it. John Thompson died today. The thing I know about him, he's a hell of a coach, Hall of Fame coach. He was legendary. He was also a trailblazer. I thought he was one of the best in the business at color analyst in a game with Westwood One. He was fantastic. We'll get more into high school football, Baylor football. In fact, right now, Baylor football. Here's a chunk of Dave Aranda from earlier today, and then Byron Hanspard Sr. Here's Dave Aranda. Dave, the special teams part of it that's been brought up, there's a special teams that makes plays, make an average team good and a good team possibly great. It seems like sometimes not everybody has that focus on special teams.
No, I agree with that statement. I think you look at special teams as a game changer. And we certainly look at it that way. And so it changes games. And the importance of it, the pride that goes into it, having playmakers on offense and defense in it. I think the coach's devotion to it. I think the study of it. And then, for me, just the constant preaching of how important it is and getting good versus good work throughout the week. And so that the speed and the tempo is there when the ball's kicked off on Saturday. But I think special teams, just being in games, so as much as we want to score and as much as we want to score live and put points on the board, right? Some of my favorite games are the low-scoring games where the field position is so critical, where, hey, if we get the 3 and out here and we pin them deep, right, and then offense gets the ball at this yard line and we can matriculate the ball down and we can get them in position to make this kick, right, and then we can pin them deep again and go 3 and out. And those things, just winning games like that when you're facing a really strong adversary and the special teams comes out on top, those are really rewarding. And we're building our team to win those types of games.
As far as Jalen Petrie, did you know his story when you arrived, that he was a commit and he remained the commit? And what does that say about him now that he's also blossoming as a player?
It says a lot. He's I'm very excited about Jalen. I'm very, when I hear more about him, just, hey, Jalen in practice did this, or Jalen in a meeting, right, said that, I think I learn how he sees the game and I learn his values and I want to learn more, And so for Jalen to be out in front of our team and our defense, I think speaks to the values that our defense holds. And so to get him out in front more and to put him in a position to be successful, I think as coaches, Jalen makes it easy on us.
Go to Matt Roberts next.
Yeah, Coach, just curious. Obviously, it's been a weird off season, and since you took over here, but has it maybe accelerated your ability to connect with the players throughout, whether it's meetings this off season or meetings like this last week about football and otherwise? Has it allowed you to really kind of get to know them better than you maybe would normally?
I agree with that. That's very good and very insightful. I think it has. I think just football in general. There's we were talking about this as a staff earlier. In the past, where say, hey, I'm gonna blow this whistle, and guys are running here and running there, or in the past where, hey, we're gonna do this, and it better look like this. I just feel like that's not necessarily my personality, anyways. But I think just whether it's COVID-19 or whether it's striving to get social justice. I think you look at those things and there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of listening. There's a lot of listening to understand. I think all of those things are appreciating the person over the player. And I can't remember a season, particularly just for me, speaking for me, where ever that's been the case more than this one. And so I appreciate that, and I appreciate our players' openness and their willingness to let me in and our coaches in. And so I think just when you get to understand, I think of this as coaches too. I think the person over the coach, the person over the player. I think a lot of times as coaches, you don't recognize or see that until you're fired, until you're out of a job, and your identity was coach this, coach that, and then you're struggling to find the person that you'd like to be, or at one time you were. So the identity piece and getting to know our people and investing in that has been much accelerated because of the time that we're in, and so I appreciate that.
Thanks, Coach.
Go to Max Olson next.
Hey, Coach. I know the issue of the conference policy for postponing games is kind of a complicated issue. I'm just curious, since they've asked for the coaches' feedback, what's your sense of where you hope that ends up? And I guess what's the minimum number of players, scholarship players, you would need active to feel like you could play a game?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I think the talks that we've had, I think there's been a bit of a break, and I don't know if there's been a resolution yet. I think that's still being worked out. I know that for me, it would come down to the big people, the O-line and the D-line, that if you get to a point where your O-line is down or your D-line is down, there's not O-line more particularly, there's not a bunch of body types that you could put into that position and play effectively. Defensive line, like for us, there's packages where we can play with 2 D linemen. We could play with 1 D lineman at times. And there's things, depending upon the offensive structure, there's things that you could do. With that being said, if that's the baseline, then what you're looking is, like, say it's offensively, let's say it's 11 personnel. So there's 1 back, there's 1 tight end, there's 3 receivers, and there's certain offensive plays, and there's a certain system that you run. Typically, right, in 2019 anyways, you'd have 11 personnel package in plays. You've got 20 personnel package in plays, and that's, there's 2 backs, no tight ends, right, 3 receivers, and you're doing something there. And maybe there's 10 personnel package in plays. So there's 1 back, no tight ends, 4 receivers. And each of those would be different plays per those personnel packages. So, hey, this kid's coming in, we're going to get the ball to him, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. I think, in my view of it, COVID-19 changes that. And so now it's like, hey, we've got these different personnel systems, but somewhere there's a baseline of, hey, these are our plays, and regardless of who we've got in the game, we can run these plays. right? And so it's not this personnel equals that, this personnel equals that. It's like, hey, here's these plays, and if we've got tight ends, we can be in 12 personnel. If we don't, we're in 10 personnel, and so on and so forth. And so whatever we need to, we can put people out there and effectively play. And then defensively, say, hey, we want to be a nickel, and we want to use the star, but if we don't, now we got a linebacker. I would think like that. I think that is not necessarily the thinking of scholarship players. And so there's some others that maybe don't think like that. And so it'll be interesting to see where that lands.
Yeah. Any idea when you guys get some sort of answer on that?
No, sir.
That's Dave Aranda. We'll hear from Byron Hanspard Sr., and there's much more that Dave Aranda discussed. Of course, every Monday at 11:35, we'll have bits and pieces of it. By the way, Frazier to the Mets. Chirinos to the Mets. Now, that's per Ken Rosenthal. That's from 254-548 to us on the Riverbend Liquor and Wine text line. He also, Rosenthal, said that Lance Lynn to the Dodgers, and that didn't happen. So T.R. Sullivan saying that they're done for the day. But there's going to be some that trickle out over the last 15 or 20 minutes, so we'll keep a track of that as we go along.
Just get the Odor deal done. Come on, Red Sox,
when
make this happen.
Yes, when we come back.
I don't need that problem.
Byron Hanspard Sr., former Texas Tech great, also played in the NFL. Falcons, I said the Chiefs, Falcons and Buccaneers. His son at Baylor, a born leader. This is Sikkim 365 Radio.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. Summer savings event still going on now at Richard Carr. Employee pricing for everyone. That means you're paying what employees pay all month long. Right now, qualified buyers can save over $7,000 on 2020 Acadias. Qualified buyers can also save $8,000 on 2020 GMC SLT Crew Cabs, $7,000 on 2020 Yukons, $7,000 on 2020 GMC Terrains. They've also got the line of Buicks, the Enclave, one of the best-selling SUVs in 2020. It's got a quiet ride, first-class seating for 7, and loaded safety and tech features. It's an uncompromising full-size SUV. Right now, save $7,200 on a 2020 Buick Enclave, plus save thousands more on 2020 Buick Envisions and Encores during the summer savings event. You get great prices, plus free oil changes with a new purchase and in-town priority warranty service whenever you purchase a vehicle at Richard Carr GMC Buick Cadillac. Richard Carr Motors are the people you can count on, a local family dealer run by Baylor Bear alumni. They want the chance to earn your business. So stop by their daily disinfected showroom, see their safety-focused staff, or they can bring the test drive to your home because your comfort and safety is Richard Carr's first priority. Find them online at richardcarr.com, that's K-A-R-R, or see them in person, Highway 6, the Imperial Exit.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and 2-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental. Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma. And they have to come here. They're used to lights. They're used to water in their mouth. They're used to experience. They already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers, everybody, the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
How can we help you? That's a question we ask every day at American Bank. Hi, I'm President and CEO Dana Hassel. Our commitment to our customers is what drives us. It's why we've invested in new branch buildings and technology like ITMs that let you speak to a teller face-to-face from your car. It's why we work with local businesses, helping Waco grow and thrive. And it's why decisions about your accounts and loans are made here in Waco by people who know you. How can we help you? Find out at American Bank, member FDIC.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has been proudly serving Texans across the state for over 60 years. Call 254-772-8090 to find an agent who will provide a free review of your auto, home, and life coverage.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
The Sikkim 365 Radio Live Guest VIP Hotline is sponsored by Stonewood Dental. We are all in this together.
All right, here we go. This 3 o'clock hour, 3:25. Baylor has Byron Hanspard Jr. on their roster, defensive back. Remember when he committed to Baylor, we had him on the show, and then, of course, signed with Baylor. He was also a part of what they did on Thursday as they just walked across campus over to the fountain, and he's the one that led the prayer. His father, Byron Hanspard Sr., a phenomenal player at Texas Tech, also in the NFL, and now a part of DeSoto ISD, which is where he's from. He joins us, Byron Hanspard Sr. on Sikkim 365 Radio. When you saw the moment of what your son was doing and the way that Baylor handled that, what was your reaction, Byron, to watching him lead the way he does?
I was never shocked by his stance. Because at the end of the day, he's been trained to love Jesus with all his heart, mind, body, and soul. So therefore, anytime someone asks him to pray or to stand up in leadership, he's always going to do that.
When all of this, I mean, granted, this is not just something that's new, but the last few months when all of this has kind of come to light for a lot of people who maybe didn't see it before, what have your discussions been like with him about what's going on in his, he's a natural born leader anyway, what he wanted to do about it?
Well, like I told him, his responsibility is not to be a politician. His responsibility is to be himself. He knows how much he loves Jesus, and he knows that we have the responsibility to plant seeds and water seeds so that the Lord can bring an increase in people's lives. So in whatever way he could let his light shine for Christ, he needed to do so, but not become a politician and get caught up in all of the politics of the situations that's at hand.
Byron, I could tell a little bit by just listening to you talk, but when did you guys, as family, kind of discover Byron's affinity for being able to communicate so well verbally and to have that leadership quality that he has and to be somebody who's confident and standing up in a big room and speaking and being the center of attention? When did you kind of notice those qualities about him?
Well, to be honest with you, the Lord has blessed me to have a phenomenal wife, which is his mother, and she is a theater arts director. So he and my other sons have always been with my wife when they were going to plays and when she was putting on plays. So they would always memorize lines. They would always stand as little kids on the stage and do different acts and different scenes. So at that moment, I feel that my wife has a lot to do with his ability to speak and to have the confidence in speaking in front of crowds and large in front of people. So I believe that has a lot to do with her.
Yeah, he's more mature than his years, isn't he?
Yes, he is. He's definitely that. And he really has no choice about that. He really has a double portion of God's anointing because, like I said, myself, if you know my career, I've always stood for Christ, and my wife is the same. And then his grandfather is a pastor and first lady, so he has no choice but really to love Jesus. So, in that loving Jesus, there comes a holy boldness to stand for Christ. So the Lord has really blessed him to be able to understand who he really is and who he's not.
When Thursday occurred, and then what you said you weren't at all surprised, did he talk to you that night?
At all. I did not know. And somebody asked me about the Twitter account. I'm not on Twitter. Well, I just connected to Twitter on Saturday because my wife told me BJ said something on Twitter and some other people were saying stuff. So I'm like, wait a minute, hold on, what's going on? So I had to connect to Twitter to kind of understand what was really going on. Because at this point, BJ, he communicates very sparingly when it comes to certain things that he's doing. So he did not call me for guidance or direction. He just kind of stood on his faith and stood on what he felt like the Lord was leading him to do and just did it. And I found out through social media like everybody else.
Well, at least like some college kids who don't call because they're, running wild, you don't have to worry that he's doing that.
No, sir, not at all. I'm very proud of him. Thank God that he has made some great decisions in his life. Of course, not perfect, but he definitely is making me proud.
Joey McGuire, you know him, the former Cedar Hill football coach, is now an assistant head coach at Baylor. I mentioned that we were going to have you on the show. He said, that's awesome. I love that guy, both of them. And there's that influence. There's that South Dallas influence right there, right?
Absolutely. Joey McGuire, he's been phenomenal. I can honestly say that, even when BJ had committed to Arkansas and he was going through the little trying to figure it out, Joey was never forceful, but he always let his presence be known that he cared and he was concerned. And we felt his genuineness once he actually started recruiting BJ. So we love him just as much as he loves us.
We're talking to Byron Hanspard Sr., former Texas Tech great, played in the NFL, now a part of DeSoto ISD. He's with us on Sikkim 365 Radio.
Byron, I was wondering from the parents' perspective, we get to ask players this question, and we kind of get the stock answers because they're, not really able to maybe always freely, speak as they would like to on a coaching change. But from a parent's perspective, what's that like to go through when the staff that, you sent your son or your daughter to is now heading elsewhere and a new one is coming in? What's that process like from a parent's perspective, and what's it been like getting to know Dave Aranda, even though there's some guys that have obviously remained around?
Well, it's the thing that we teach BJ is that at this point, and I have two sons that are in college now, but what we taught BJ was at this point, now that we're dropping you off at Baylor, it's your life. So we're no longer the boss of your life. We're here to help guide you. So with the change, the only conversation I had with BJ was make certain that you be yourself and not try to be somebody else, regardless of who comes, who leaves. You have to be yourself, and people have to like you and appreciate you for you, not you trying to be something that you're not. So I feel like, as a parent, as long as he's good, then I'm good, because I don't have to be at Baylor. I don't have to be under the rule of coach. I don't have to be around him. Matter of fact, I can't say that I met him. We had a Zoom meeting that he kind of met with the parents, and we kind of said hello and said our names. But other than that, I've never personally sat down and met with him like I did with Coach Rule and Coach McGuire. So I really don't have an opinion concerning him at this point.
Byron Hanspard Sr. with us on Sikkim 365 Radio. Of course, his son Byron Jr. is a part of the Baylor football team. Paul?
Is it weird when, you're a Texas Tech legend and you obviously want your children to cut their own path, but was it a little strange when he chose Baylor, or were you ready for all that?
Absolutely ready for it, because they understood that. I don't want you to follow in my footsteps, because the expectation is for you to be greater than me because you have me. That's the expectation for all my children. You have me. So I don't expect for you to follow and do what I've done and try to be in the path, follow my footsteps as far as the same university that I've attended. Find your own way. Create your own pathway, because you want to follow Jesus more than you want to follow your father.
Byron, you were a phenomenal player, and everyone kind of knows that what happened at the end of your career at Texas Tech. However, forget about that. Oh, not forget about it, but did you just gain or earn a master's degree? Is that right?
No, I've been taking master's classes.
Okay.
In marriage and family therapist. I received my bachelor's in 2016, magna cum laude, 3.73 from Texas A&M Commerce. But no, I've not completed with the master's. But I've been taking courses.
What did you learn about responsibility? You were young. You were also looking at the next level. What did you learn about that time in your life?
Well, at that time, like I told people, that was a decision that I felt the Lord was leading me as far as leading to go to the NFL. Classes, that was my fault. The Lord had nothing to do with that. Once I kind of knew in probably October-ish that I was going to the league, I honestly just stopped going to class and just focused in on focused in on playing ball. That was a decision that a 19-year-old made at that time. Did I regret it now that I'm an adult? Of course. But like I told my son, you would never do that. I'm the only one in the house that can not go to class and focus totally on football because if they tell you, they'll tell you, I didn't want them to play football. Honestly, I didn't allow BJ to play football until his sixth grade year because I wanted him to focus on his ABC plan of what you're going to do outside of sports. Because Daddy focused on football all the way. That was inside out, upside down. So that's the reason why I made the mistake that I made at that particular time.
You could tell. You mentioned your wife. You could tell where all this comes from him. I mean, the time we had him on, he's incredible. I mean, that's back. I'm seriously. That's one of those. Both your sons, obviously, very proud of what you guys have done. When you were at Tech, you put up some big numbers. All-American, of course. You ended up being a second-round pick by the Falcons. When you were at Tech, you're a big dude, man. You were a pretty big running back as well. 5'10", 200 pounds, I believe, at the time. What was it like knowing when you had a team and you were just pounded on them and you could gash them as a running back and just run for whatever you wanted at the time?
I don't know if I could run for what I wanted at the time. Every team that we played was very competitive. And the thing about me is the Lord truly tremendously blessed me to have phenomenal coaches and great teammates, especially my offensive linemen, the receivers that we had, fullback, and, of course, quarterback Zebby. They were awesome. Mm-hmm. So I was able to accomplish so much because I had so much of a great chemistry around me that made it seem like I was that great, but I was just average, just like everybody else. Just had a great line and great people around me. That's all it was.
No. I understand all that. You had 2,084 yards rushing that same year that Troy Davis had a big year at Iowa State. Now, when I say you could do whatever you want, that's not – obviously I was exaggerating there, but, man, you had yourself a year. You're one of the best ever to come out of Texas Tech. What does that mean to you?
I'm humbled, simply because, as I said, the people that I had around me were awesome. We fought for one another. It wasn't all eyes on Byron, even though it happened to be that way. But I'm one that diverts attention to everyone else because I'm not a one-man show. It's not about me. Everything that I do, I want to make sure that the Lord receives all the honor, glory, and praise, and that I give accolades and love to all of the people that have helped me to receive those accolades. So it definitely had nothing to do with just me and me alone.
Mike Dykes was one of my favorite people to ever talk when he would come here to the Texas Sports Hall of Fame and do things. He was very funny, and he had this big personality. What was it like to play for him?
I love Spike. I mean, Spike was one that you could really say was a player's coach that really loved you as a person. Yeah, he coached football and he expected for you to be the greatest that you can be in football, but he was one that would actually, if you ever was around him and he slapped you on your back and grabbed your muscles and say, hey, he'll pull you in and just give you some words of wisdom. Not necessarily dealing with football, but just dealing with life, helping us make right decisions, right choices, just being that father away from our fathers, just wise and intelligent. I mean, I love Spike, I'm telling you.
One more thing, Byron, if you don't mind. You were a part of the transition as the Big 12 and the Big 8 and the Southwest Conference merged, and you were a part of the first year, I believe, of the Big 12. What was that time like, watching the Southwest Conference break up and then yet again merge with the Big 8?
Well, I think it was a great milestone for all because as we see now, it's still growing, and Big 12 is a phenomenal conference. At that time, man, I was just trying to play football. I didn't really understand the political factors of the Southwest Conference going away, Big 8 going away, and we're just forming one Big 12. It was just an awesome opportunity to be a part of the inaugural season of the Big 12 and to be able to accomplish some things that we accomplished that year. So it was just great.
And part of the DeSoto Hall of Fame, that's also one of the many things that you've added to your resume along the way. Anything else, guys? Hey, Byron, your son's amazing. You guys are as well, the Hanspard family. Thanks for your time. We appreciate it so much.
Thank you so much for having me on. Thank you.
Byron Hanspard, senior. He went to DeSoto High School. So many have come out of that school. Went drafted by the Falcons in the second round. Played for 2 years with the Falcons, played, I think, 3 years with Tampa Bay. Unanimous All-American, Doak Walker Award winner, first-team All-Big 12, and finished sixth in the Heisman Trophy. He rushed for 2,084 yards and was sixth in the Heisman Trophy voting. I guess that would have been his. I'm not sure if that was his junior year. Yeah,
because he didn't play his senior year.
Yeah, that's right. First, he's the unanimous first-team All-American. Finished. He was only the third Red Raider football player ever named unanimous All-American after Mark Bounds in 1991. Zach Thomas, the linebacker, played with the Dolphins in 95. Since then, he's been joined by Michael Crabtree and tight end Jason Morrow as unanimous All-Americans in Texas Tech football history.
And Patrick Mahomes is from that program as well, but he never got many accolades in college because his teams weren't very good. I mean, plain and simple. They just weren't very good teams that he played for, and so his stats, I think Patrick faced a couple of issues. One, his team wasn't good, and two, the Texas Tech stigma, which Baylor quarterbacks had to deal with for a while, and still somehow or another, there's still like this thought out there that like from college football writers, all they do is still run like the Browns offense. I saw that so many times last year. It drove me insane. It's like, dude, this coach is on his third year now, and we're 4 years removed from what you're talking about. So that's just crazy to me. But the Texas Tech record, and then obviously Patrick just having the stigma of being in that offense, I think just kind of made him look like, oh, he's just another Tech quarterback, and it turns out that was not the case.
Had 7 wins in his time there. You know, it's crazy. I mean, Baylor beat him a couple of different times. He finally got him the year that Baylor had so many distractions during, I think, 2016.
He threw for like 750,000 yards that game.
One of the college football had its debut game. Central Arkansas in the debut game beat Austin Peay. Final, 24-17. That's the first game. This week, there's a few other games. Rice in Houston was supposed to be played. That's, of course, been postponed. You have SMU and Texas State. Houston Baptist plays North Texas. Stephen F. Austin plays at UTEP. Arkansas State turns around and plays Memphis, I think, this week. And then also Brigham Young.
Thank God they got some games.
Against Navy.
I thought for sure.
Army, by the way, against Middle Tennessee State.
Yeah. I really wish we'd put. Well, I know that 2 of them are, but I wish that all the service academies were in the same conference.
Yeah, Well, they used to be independent.
Yeah.
I want to, speaking of that, I found this out as I'm talking to Don Hyde, Shane Anderson. We have that game, La Vega and Conley on Sikkim 365 Radio 106.7, The Eagle. Jarquay Walton, the running back at La Vega, has already received offers from Army, Navy, the Air Force Academy, and then, of course, Incarnate Word and a few others. All 3 academies have invited him, because that's an invitation to be a part of their campus. That says everything.
That's an interesting choice you'd have to make, though.
Yeah, I know. Not just one, all of them.
Yeah.
You want, like, the Citadel needs to jump in there somewhere, or the Coast Guard.
Coast Guard Academy.
That's great for him, and it's great that he also has other options, and I'm sure he'll pick up some more along the season, because I expect La Vega to be obviously very, very good. And just seeing all the stats from their guys this past week, I mean, they had a lot of guys who were putting up some big numbers offensively and defensively. And, yeah, the Service Academy commit, that's a whole different ballgame because it's not like you just go to Army and then you're a true freshman and you're playing wide receiver. It's like, no, like you got to put a couple years in and then you get to maybe play football. And so, like, there's so many times we put together the signing day list and there's, like, however many guys signed to Army, Navy, wherever. And then, like, 2 years go by, and, like, they may or may not be on the team. They may or may not even, it's just kind of crazy how that works. So that is a commitment.
High school coaches coming up, Martin Crawford at 445 Dublin's Bob Servetto. They won a game. Dublin did under this new stadium named after him. Also, tennis coach Michael Woodson, men's tennis at Baylor at 4:30. We'll have our Central Texas High School Football Players of the Week brought to you by Burt Colgan Ford. That comes up at around 4:50. And then also Colin Brents, former linebacker from Baylor, will join us at 5:15. This is Sikkim 365 Radio.
Bird Culchin Ford's been in Waco since 1936, and Ford's the number one selling truck in Texas, 43 years running. Everywhere you look, you're seeing somebody driving a Ford truck. BK Ford proudly supports high school football and the Ford Tough Player of the Week, which comes up today at 4:50 p.m. And no better way to tailgate with a Ford from Bird Culchin Ford. Whether you're going to tailgate your house, you're going to tailgate in the park, you're going to be able to tailgate near a stadium, that's the place to go get your Ford truck. Locally owned dealership, online at bkford.com, 1701 West Loop 340 in Waco.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom-ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi, great priced chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco, house-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine, best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
What you do in privacy is your own business. What you do in public with your truck, well, that's our business at Pickup Outfitters. In your garage, it's okay for your truck to parade around in the nude with no accessories. Hey, this is still America. But when you bring your truck out in public, it's just common decency to put an outfit on your truck. And that's where we come in at Pickup Outfitters. Put a cover on that bed. Cover your rear end with a bumper and a hitch, for goodness sakes. There are women and children on the roads. And guys, don't leave your tools exposed. Put them in a toolbox. Be proud of your truck and stand tall with a lift kit. Or improve your truck's posture with a leveling kit. Add some class to your pickup with new wheels and tires. Or dress up for a date with your new RV or boat with a fifth wheel or a receiver hitch. At Pickup Outfitters, we're dedicating to making the roads decent for all Central Texans. So when taking your truck out in public, remember your manners and accessorize it properly with an outfit from Pickup Outfitters. 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Engel with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like instant issue debit cards free at all of our banking centers, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas, familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
Hi, this is Mart High School football coach Kevin Hoffman, and I'm a proud listener and supporter of the all-new Sikkim 365 radio show with David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
This segment with Mart Panthers football coach Kevin Hoffman is sponsored by Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, Southwest Sports Medicine, First National Bank of Central Texas.
So you get the first one out of the way. Obviously, Rodrell was great. Your team takes care of business 34-7. McGregor next. They put up a lot of points. They lost their opening game. Your thoughts about what you have to do with them?
I mean, we're going to have to execute. We're going to have to play, another good game like we did this past Friday. We need to jump on them early and try to put them in a hole and maybe force them to do something that, they don't want to do. We can score points, and I know they can score points. So we'll see what happens.
Their quarterback has obviously been playing, I think this is maybe his fourth year, DeAndre McDaniel. When you watch him play, he puts up big numbers, had 300 yards or so in the game. Is that someone you just got to make sure you contain him? You guys contain pretty much everybody but DeAndre?
Yeah, he's a dynamic quarterback. He can throw it, he can run it. We've been watching film on him this weekend, and he's a great player. Like I said, he's got a lot of experience back there. So when we've played against people like that before, and so we'll be ready.
Your thoughts on just getting that first game out of the way, and was it special now that it's over?
Oh yeah, it was just, we were just blessed and happy to be out there and have a chance to play, and so our kids enjoyed the night, and the coaches, and hopefully the fans and everyone else got to get back to some sense of normalcy and watching high school football, and we just hope that we can beat this thing and follow all the laws and rules and guidelines, and be safe, and we can have a full season.
Did you ever get to a point where you were so into the game you forgot to do any of the protocol yourself, or is that just it was a pretty smooth night overall?
Yeah, it was pretty smooth, and with me and the rest of the coaches, and it's you're on the sidelines, and you want to talk to the kids, and you're doing this, you have your face mask and covering up, and sometimes you feel like, well, I don't think they can hear me, or I don't think they understand what I'm saying. So there are times that you pull that face mask down and talk and do whatever like you would normally in any other time, but we're trying to do the best we can and follow the rules.
Are you a Sikkim 365 super fan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at Sikkim365.com.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance in McLennan County takes pride in backing Central Texas football. Our agents would like to help with your insurance needs. Call 254-772-8090 for an agent near you.
Hi, this is Crawford AD head football coach Greg Jacobs, and you're listening to Sikkim 365 Radio with David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
This segment with Crawford Pirates football coach Greg Jacobs is sponsored by Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, Southwest Sports Medicine, MP Electric.
Greg, in this day and age of football, I mean, it's just hard to ever get any kind of shutouts. It's hard to get somebody to get shut out at halftime, much less a game. Low-scoring game, 14-0. Win against Goldthwaite. Your thoughts about how your defense came to play very well?
Well, we got behind the 8 ball early. We had an unfortunate situation in special teams. We had a snap over the punter's head, and we got pinned way back and then turned the ball over numerous times. But we were able to keep them out of the end zone. I think they had the ball inside the 20, and we held them in 4 downs, got the ball back. So once we overcame those few mistakes and we kind of settled down defensively, and you know, we were hit and miss on offense, and our offense is a little behind, but our defense played really well from that point on, and they were just really determined to keep them out of the end zone.
Do you feel like the lack of a second scrimmage may have affected your offense a little bit, even special teams as well?
Oh, I definitely think that had a lot to do with it. Yes, I do.
Your thoughts about Bruceville Eddie trying to get to 2-0? You are after the win against Goldthwaite. Your thoughts on what they do?
Offensively, they're a spread offense or a spread team. They throw the ball around very well. They have some good skill kids. The quarterback's very effective in running their offense, and they utilize all of the field, and they mix in a great running game with a good passing game. So they're going to be difficult to defend.
Finally, the fact you just got in the first game, there was we've talked about this last week, but we weren't even sure we'd get to this point. Now that the first week is done and you get to move into a normal routine, how critical was that just to kind of get through week one?
Well, it was great, just to get through week one, most definitely. And now that we maybe we feel like we're settling into a little better routine, a little more normal situation. I think the kids are really beginning to feel confident that maybe, this season will carry on.
This is Sikkim 365 Radio.
With a proven performance reputation spanning 85 years, Sturda Steel operates with one sole purpose, producing the highest quality seating solutions with the best and most efficient processes in the industry. With engineered, fabricated, and installed grandstands and bleachers all across North America. Whether seating 50 to 50,000, the skill and versatility of our workmen are evident in the quality and precision work detailed on every bleacher and grandstand project. Sturda Steel, family owned and operated since 1934 at sturdasteel.com.
How often have you said it's time to get in shape? Every day, every week, every month, maybe for as long as you can remember? How about starting today? I promise if you'll just join Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness now, you'll thank me later. Hi, this is David Smoke, offering a variety of 40 group exercise classes every single week, including boot camp on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5:15, plus spin, body shaping, Pilates, yoga, and bar. And there's a free kids club as well. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness open Monday through Thursday 5 to 10, Friday 5 to 8, Saturday and Sunday 7 to 7, and personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. World-class tennis facility with pros Britt Coleman and Joe Rosa with lessons, camps, and special events. Spacious and clean workout rooms, locker room for men and women, both with a whirlpool and sauna, and now there's touchless bottle filling stations. No intimidation, tremendous camaraderie, an entirely new atmosphere, and yes, you can do this, but you have to walk through the front door. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world?
by not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference, and that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
The biggest, the baddest, and proven to be the best. Ram is back-to-back Motor Trend Truck of the Year. Now, get the Ram you've been waiting for less from your friend in the car business, Alan Samuels. A new loaded-up 2020 Ram 1500 Longhorn 4x4. Now with a whopping $12,000 off, and first responders receive an additional $500. Big summer clearance event savings from the Ram leader, Alan Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Ask for details. All offers with approved credit.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
Weisner, right side, breaks the first tackle, breaks another tackle, 40, goodbye, split it open. My goodness. Shot out of a gun. Trey Weisner, touchdown, 49 yards.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
We will be live at Willie Williams Stadium Friday. We'll have the game broadcast. La Vega, number 1 ranked team in Class 4A Division I. Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine now kind of takes over that. Associated Press used to do that along with others, and there's websites that do it. Jerry Forrest, we've told you about Pigskin Prep from Mart, Texas, who had him on the show a couple of weeks ago. He has his rankings with the win against Sunnyvale, 46-25. You just heard a highlight with Trey Weisner, the sophomore, who can flat out go. And he had 240 yards, had a 46-yard run called back, 4 touchdowns. Obviously, Kavion Gaither was great. Connolly defense was good, too. But we'll have that game. We'll hear from Shane Anderson, Don Hyde Wednesday. We'll hear from them even longer on Friday. And spent time today at La Vega, tomorrow at Conley. And that's not it. Our Players of the Week coming up at 4:50. Bob Cervetto, longtime coach at Dublin, will join us before that as well.
Yeah, Weisner was really good. He's got something, and he's young still, so he's got a long way to go, but he already has the size. He's not a big guy. He's just, he's above 6 feet tall or around there, which is ideal. And he's got like kind of that lanky but athletic frame. So where he's kind of like almost he's definitely a high school running back, but you can see him playing like the slot or something, maybe at the next level. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But yeah, he was very, very impressive, as was Kavion Gaither. Again, I'll go back to their lack of throwing the football. And I kind of wondered at one point, and you guys can tell me if you think this way or not, but at some point, do you think they just sort of abandoned? I mean, it's not like they tried over and over and over again. Well, they only threw 4 passes. But it was almost like, hey, we don't need to, so let's just not show anything play-wise or what?
The first pass was a pick six. No, the first pass was actually one that Weisner should have caught. Then it was an incomplete pass, then a pick six, and the fourth pass should have been an interception. It was tipped up. Branche Miles picked it.
The touchdown that got called back,
too. It was
a weird play.
Listen, I've seen them scrimmage. They were 2 for 11 passing. I know Tyler Webb comes with a lot of, the look, the arm. He's a great young kid. I get it. But it's got to improve. And La Vega, what they'll do is they'll stack the box.
Oh, yeah.
And they have, unlike Sunnyvale, who has some really good football. Sunnyvale's a very good football program, but they had no scrimmage and had like 1 or 2 less weeks of working out. La Vega can go sideline to side. There's no one nobody in this county or in this area, other than maybe the 6As and 5As, have the same speed as La Vega.
Right.
And not just that. The ability to know when they're like what Mart has been, what Yo was for a long time, and trying to get that back, and maybe Crawford and Midway. They know when they take the field, there's a little bit of that swagger, not cocky, just knowing who they are.
They know they're good.
Yeah, and when I spoke to Leroy Coleman today, you're like, we just do what we do, And so that's going to be fun to watch. Can't wait for that. I'm excited because we have the high school segments. We have Players of the Week coming up, which we vote on. We'll do that today at 4:45.
We did a high school broadcast on Friday night, guys.
Yeah.
We did that.
We're 1 for 1.
Yep.
That's all. That's I think we're going to go. That's what we're going to take that mantra this year. Is we're going to just go 1-0 each week.
Just
1-0 each week.
But I mean, for all the talk that we had about whether or not this was even going to exist in 2020, we had a high school football broadcast.
Yeah, we did. And there was a talk about whether we would exist by the time football season came around and whether we could do a game. It wasn't easy, but we got it done, and I'm excited about that. Also today at 4:30, Michael Woodson, men's tennis coach at Baylor, just took over the program. Brian Boland, of course, no longer there. Michael Woodson will join us at 4:30. Also at 5:15, Colin Brents. He's, I think, in the insurance business. How about tomorrow? Trevor White is a part of Tony Stewart Racing in NASCAR. And I don't know how I saw something was earlier today, and then I got his number, was able to get the number, but there was a pit incident, maybe even back 3 or 4 weeks ago, and somebody that played at Baylor then tagged at Trevor White, whatever his Twitter handle is, and I was like, wait a minute, does he do this? Who was your friend? Was it Yarbrough? Didn't you have a friend that played baseball with you and Tyler that was a NASCAR pit crew?
I don't know about that, no.
Yeah, it was a left, yes.
I mean, I have somebody I know from Tyler named Ty Yarborough. I have no idea I don't believe he went into NASCAR, but if he did, hey, cool.
There was another guy, he played on one of your select baseball teams. Good, like his father was there a lot.
That's Fambro.
Yeah. Fambro.
Yeah, I mean, that's been over 10 years without any contact, so I have no idea what he's doing. But yeah, he was deep into the NASCAR thing from what I remember, and would not be surprised if he's like a 10-year crew chief somewhere now.
Colin Fambro?
Sure. Yeah, I think so.
This was from 2017 in October. Tyler Native has 2 Sprint Cup titles in the pits.
Oh, yeah, that's
him.
Yep.
29 years old? I thought he would be a little bit older than that.
Yeah, I think
he
would.
That's 3 years ago, though, so
so it's about right there.
About right. That's
I don't know.
cool.
Still seems kind of younger than expected, but
maybe.
I mean, a Tyler native, maybe a brother or something. I don't know, but I do remember CJ. That's how I knew him.
There we go.
Yeah, that's
CJ.
CJ. But I do remember him being involved in all of that, and then perhaps working his way into it.
Yeah, CJ is part of the Joe Gibbs racing team.
Well, there you go.
Golly, I should have taken advantage of that. And he was also in the Daytona. That's who it is. And Colin, maybe that's maybe a younger brother or a relative who wanted to get into it. But we'll have Trevor White, former Baylor football player, who's in the I don't know if it's Haas Racing, but Tony Stewart, his race team, will join us today or tomorrow. Excuse me, along with Mac Rhodes, John McClain, and others that we have. Now, some of the other stories going on. Who's this Murray kid from Denver? 50, 42, and 50 the last 3 games in the NBA playoffs against Utah.
Yeah, he's not bad. He's pretty hot.
Is the ball juiced?
No, something. I think.
Or is nobody playing defense?
No, I think some people are taking to the bubble like that. This whole thing well, and other people are not. And we heard like Paul.
But everyone's scoring 140 points.
But yeah, and I think part of it is just that they'll play defense next season.
Yeah, I don't know, but Jamal Murray's been very, very good. He's the reason why the Nuggets aren't eliminated yet, and he's been incredible on this stretch, as you mentioned. So, no, I mean, I don't think he's come out of nowhere, but he's a very good player and has been certainly one of the most must-watch people through these, playoffs up to this point. I mean, it's a lot of scoring, like you said, across the playoffs. I mean, for me, like watching the NBA, I'm not exactly thinking I'm walking in and I'm going to watch like X's and O's. Like I know what it is. I know that it's going to be high scoring. There's going to be some defense, and there's going to be some games where there's very little of it. But I mean, the playoffs have been cool, and Jamal Murray has been one of the standouts up from it. And I don't know how much my interest will last with the Mavericks now eliminated, because that was kind of a big story over the weekend, but not surprising. And with them eliminated now, I really have nothing too much to hold on to as far as interest level goes, other than just seeing the teams themselves and seeing who moves on. And does LeBron get a ring, or does Kawhi go back-to-back, or whatever the case may be? I mean, I'll follow those typical storylines, but my interest in the NBA as it was, just as a fan in general, it's not my favorite. It's not my second favorite. It's not my third favorite of all the different sports. But I do like it, and I do love the Mavericks. And now with them out of it, yeah, it definitely is a bit of a blow as far as my interest level goes.
Yeah. The Mavericks are a team on the rise.
For sure.
They sent a message. They got to figure what's going on. They got to get Porzingis. They got to get him healthy. That's it. And he may be one of those, like a lot of other big, tall players, not Sam Bowie-like, not like that, but he's just going to constantly maybe have to struggle with injuries. He's a hell of a player when he's on, and he's a great combination with Luka. But they win that series. I'm not going to say that.
I don't think so.
Look, here's the way I would look at it if I was a Mavericks fan. Look, the Clippers were a deeper team and more experienced and ready to go. I mean, they have Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. And when Paul George woke up, man, did he ever wake up.
Yeah.
But they got what they needed out of this in that the bare minimum they had to was get the playoff experience, win in a big moment, show what you can do. With Kristaps not playing the last couple games, they were going to be at a strong disadvantage. But another year with that young team, building around Luka, who, for my money, is the most exciting young player in the game right now. I think the sky's the limit for the Mavericks. It's just it wasn't going to happen this year, and it probably won't happen next year, but they'll probably be better. And then a couple years from now, I think they might be serious contenders because you look and, how much longer does that LeBron-Lakers thing really have?
I don't know. I mean, this is a year where I feel like he kind of has to win it, because I don't know how much time there is. I mean, granted, he's still one of the best players, and some will argue he's still the best player in the world. I don't feel informed enough to really have, a solid breakdown of why he is or he isn't, but he's certainly in that conversation and will always be until he unless he has like a Michael Jordan Wizards stint, which I don't see happening. But no, I mean, he's getting older. He's in his mid-30s now. And while he's still very, very good, I mean, there is such thing as a window. Everybody, no matter how great you are, eventually starts to see their game slow down or injuries pile up or whatever the case may be. So, yeah, LeBron and the Lakers, this is a great opportunity for them. A great opportunity for the Mavericks. But just sticking with them, like you were saying, I mean, I think they had a good showing. They won a couple of games. They were able to give the Clippers more of a run than maybe people expected. Not quite frankly, they should have won 3 games. Should have been into a Game 7 situation, or maybe even closing it out yesterday. But, yeah, Paul George turned it on, and the Clippers, that was what I expected. I expected them to win that series, so it wasn't like a real huge disappointment. Just wish that Porzingis could have stayed healthy and at least, made it a bit more interesting. The Mavericks now are going to have to spend this offseason just, doing whatever they would typically do, but really trying to figure out the health situation with Kristaps and what can be done there and what just to expect moving forward. But they also need to grab a third wheel to add to this equation.
Yeah, they need. You have to have that. You can have Davis and LeBron, but so do you think LeBron sits out the rest of that whatever it was last week when they decided not to play, had he not been on a team that is favored to win the NBA championship?
No.
Second part is this. What the hell was that the Cowboys put up on television last night?
That was the biggest
That's one of the that used to be when we go to training camp back in the day forever, and I've been to I can't remember how many. Obviously, the camp was in Frisco this year. The first Sunday of training camp, they would hold the blue-white scrimmage. Now, back in the day, when for me, that's for a long time because I'm 61 years old, is that they would have already had – the rookies would have already been in camp like a couple of extra weeks, so things have changed. But even then, like the first full week after, like a first full week of practice, they'd have the blue-white scrimmage. It was fantastic. It was a must-be-at, highlights. It's a great day. And that's really what it was last night. So Mike McCarthy said, nope.
No jersey numbers.
No, Dak had like a number 10 underneath of him. There's no jersey numbers. They didn't show really many plays. I think they eventually showed a replay on @DallasCowboys on Twitter. Of course they did.
Yeah.
It was like watching the sidelines.
It was an absolute – it was like Nate and Irvin were on with Bill Jones.
But they couldn't talk about the plays. They could only talk about things
and then somebody
in
went
generalities.
Down.
And then, the Cowboys sent this picture to the media that were there, Jane Slater and Machota and Hellman, all those guys. Here's what you can tweet out because you can't do anything live. And it was like this weird picture from this high vantage point. Here's why I like this. McCarthy's pulling some Belichick-style stuff here because he realized that the rules had been relaxed about numbers and all these things that they didn't have to show this year because of COVID-19, and he took full advantage of it. He took absolute full advantage of it. And so there were coaches. I was reading Jane Slater's tweets that were texting Jane going, I wish I'd have thought of this. This is ridiculous. The league should pop them, all this thing. But most of them were basically saying, look, I wish I'd thought of this. I wish I'd known that rule. But, yeah, McCarthy's pulling some Belichick-level stuff. You leave that guy out sitting around in a house with him and Jim Haslett and all those other guys watching film and reading the rule book?
Yeah, Craig?
Breaking news out of the Big Ten. Big Ten's Council of Presidents and Chancellors have voted 11-3 to postpone the fall sports season based on information from the medical group representing all 14 schools. I saw elsewhere where apparently it was an 11-3 vote.
This was the vote that 2 or 3 weeks ago, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the one they finally, because of the Nebraska lawsuit, they uncovered the actual vote.
Yes.
And so finally, and that is news because they kind of hemmed and hawed whether they voted or who voted, and so there was a vote.
That sounded to me a lot like there's not a report. Yeah. You know, those kind of a things.
Like Pepper Hamilton?
Yeah, okay, then why'd you have them here?
Yeah.
I mean, you just went together and you're all like, everybody just close your eyes and just put it out in the aura, and then we'll make a decision. No, come on, you got to vote.
Yeah, it kind of, if you're just glossing over, it kind of reads like, yeah, they just came to this decision, but it is as a result of that Nebraska lawsuit. So now we have the details of where they came to their determination on the fall season. So it was 11-3. I'd imagine Nebraska was one of those three.
Hell yeah.
I would think there would be more than just the three, but Michigan, Ohio State, and Nebraska seem like the most logical choices.
I would think Iowa.
I thought Penn State might have.
I think Iowa.
Because you heard, I mean, James Franklin was I mean, he's not like a Harbaugh who goes like on like a raid cycle, but James Franklin was as miffed as I think you'd ever hear him.
Minnesota President Joan Gable was quoted earlier in the month, we didn't vote per se. It's a deliberate process where we came to a single decision together, but I absolutely support the decision. And then Sandy Barbour, whatever her name is at Penn State, that's Carl Campbell's buddy, it's unclear to me whether or not there was a vote. What the hell?
And then days later, there was a announcement that there was a formal vote. Like, what is with all the secrecy? Yeah, I mean, like, hey, the fact that, you vote on this, I would think that you'd be proud to say what you voted. I mean, you would either feel very strongly one way or the other about what you voted for. So I don't know why there's this shroud of secrecy around this. I mean, 11 voted yes, let's postpone. And, like, if you're one of those 11, why not just say, like, yeah, I don't think we should play in the fall. I think we should move it to the spring.
2 sworn affidavits, both confirmed 11-3 vote by Kevin Warren, the commissioner, and also Northwestern President Morton Shapiro, who's the chairman of the league's Council of Presidents and Chancellors. Why was it so difficult just to say it wasn't unanimous? We're not all on the same page. I'm going to say Nebraska and Iowa were at least 2 of the 3 votes. At least Nebraska accomplished something in football. Well, in this terms, it's not wins and losses, but they got information out. Now, does it change that? No. And are they going to talk about Thanksgiving now? Okay. I actually was it Ari Wasserman, who covers Ohio State, Michigan, and all that. He actually had the audacity. And he's a good writer. He covers college football very well. He had the audacity to suggest, hey, why doesn't everybody else slow down and wait for us to start? What the hell? Screw you.
What have they been doing?
I think from his point of view, it's just, he's obviously being very selfish intentionally. I'm not saying this in a bad way, but it's like, yeah, selfishly, if I'm him and I'm on a beat where the schools aren't playing while everybody else is going to be playing, I would want to be like, hey, guys, don't, let us come too. Hey, can we wait a little while and then we can join you guys as well? I think that was kind of what he was doing right there. Wishful thinking, if anything else. But no, I don't think anybody should wait for the Big Ten. Screw you guys. You were the ones that tried to get the dominoes falling to begin with. You were the ones that tipped over the very first one and then puffed your chest out and acted like everybody was just going to follow suit, and nobody other than the Pac-12 did so in a hurried manner, and eventually you got a little bit more company. But I'm proud of the Big 12 and the SEC and the AAC and ACC and all those who have decided, like, hey, let's just grind through this and see what we can do. And, that's what a lot of the local high schools have had to do. And look, they all got games in this last week, and now they'll try to do their best throughout this week to try to get a second game in. And that's what everybody's going to have to do. But I just was never in favor of just not trying at all. If there was any way possible to maybe make it happen. So, yeah, I think Ari's just feeling a little left out, and I don't blame him there because if the shoe was on the other foot, I'd be a little peeved off right now at the Big 12 if they had done that. So, the Big 10, they've created so many more problems for themselves through this thing rather than just it being clear and coherent and concise and all of that. It had these lawsuits, and then is there a vote? There wasn't a vote. Hey, can you guys wait on us? Maybe we'll play in October. Maybe we'll do November. Like, it's just all over the place. So what a rough first year for the new commissioner there.
Yeah, it took this lawsuit. It may never have come out. It did. The Stuart Mandel, the Nebraska player's lawsuit is already starting to turn up some answers. That's all everyone wanted. They didn't want to.
By the way, this Thanksgiving thing strangely popped up when they realized that they were going to lose players to other schools.
Yeah,
like they're like, oh wait, well, hold on,
dude. Everything comes back to recruiting.
We're going to keep you here, kind of kidnapped and practicing, and in this little cycle, so that you didn't go. And go, I mean, like, not even players in recruiting, players on your roster are going to go and play other places. Now, if Justin Fields isn't, Micah Parsons not, but you lose your second best offensive lineman who's a graduate, could be a grad transfer, or you lose a linebacker, USC and or UCLA and Arizona just lost two starters this week to Baylor and Texas Tech. So you're going to lose those players, man. Yeah, let's have a season. Let's do this. Let's start saying there's a vote. Yeah, it all seems like a big con to me with the Big Ten. What's going on?
The fact that a couple of presidents and an AD said, "Well, it wasn't really a vote per se." No, it was. There's 11-3. Own it.
It's just dumb. It's something that's bigger because of you trying to, for whatever reason, be dismissive of it or try to be I can't find the right word, but you're not trying to be very transparent. For what reason, I don't know, because transparency would have allowed you to move forward without any of these articles being written or without anybody already wanting the head of Kevin Warren as commissioner when he hasn't even been in a first football season just yet and won't be for a few more months now. But yeah, I mean, they created a lot of problems for themselves. Again, I'm glad that the Big 12 and the other conferences did not cave to the pressure of the mighty Big 10 deciding that they weren't going to play football for a while. They can sit on the sidelines and watch, and then, you know what, in January, the others will go sit on the sidelines after what is hopefully a completely, full schedule and a complete season, and they can watch the Big 10 and the Pac-12 and all the others do their things this spring. We'd have 8.5 months of college football. It'd be great.
Yeah, everyone. I'm almost positive Nebraska, Iowa. The third one was interesting. Like you would think it would be Penn State or even Ohio State or Michigan.
Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan. Like those three schools all came out. I'm surprised it was even 11-3. It sounded like it would be more, 9-5ish. But I guess some at the time when this was taken. That's the thing is if they re-voted now, what do you think it would be? I think it would be a lot closer than 11-3.
I bet it would be 9-6, 8-7.
Yeah, I think it would be different.
And there's some, and there is this, and there's a true thought here, whether it's true or not. At least there's a speculation that this could be, no matter what a president or an AD wanted to do, that this could be political.
Yeah.
That there are some universities that no matter what, even if they wanted to play, even if they felt like they should play, that this is kind of a political ball.
Well, I think what's happening is that while you've seen some outbreaks at schools and Oklahoma lost a whole position group and all that, it's all kind of happened before the season has started. So they've dealt with it. They haven't had to stop. So if I'm the Big Ten and the Pac-12, I'm looking at this right now, and maybe it's a little different in the Pac-12 because they're the whole West Coast is still just a huge.
What was it? Arizona State, I think, that announced just yesterday they had like 1 billion cases.
Yeah, so they've got maybe a bigger problem with containing this.
That school's just screwed, though.
Well,
they're not going to not party at Arizona State. That's just not going to happen.
It's in the manual that you have to do.
That's what they all major in.
Yeah. So but I do think that if you were a school that voted against it, but you were voting against it because that was where you felt the tide was. Like, well, I might as well vote against it because I don't want to be one of the ones. Yeah. And then you're looking at it going, well, everything seems to be going all right for right now. Why do we have to cancel it today? That to me was the mistake the Big Ten made.
That's the thing. They did it 3 weeks ago. Yeah, and nothing's
So why not just keep trying and cancel when you have to cancel, not cancel beforehand?
Right.
Because they haven't sent their students home. I mean, they've gone to more, online stuff, but the students are still there on campus. They haven't wholesale sent the students home. So as long as the students are on campus, playing football or volleyball or whatever sport you're going to play is not going to increase your risk any more than, going to the community shower or, in your dorm room or, eating in the cafeteria.
There was another case I saw today. I'm trying to remember which school it was, and I can't remember right now. I've read too much stuff today. But there was a school that I guess they had a little bit of a break, and then they came back, and all of a sudden there was like dozens of new positives. And it was with the football players outside of the bounds of, the athletic department and all the protocols and things like that. And so that's what I've been saying this entire time. I've been saying for everybody complaining about students being on campus or even trying to do this thing, like how many cases do we know about that we otherwise would not have known about? Like hundreds at this point. And how many of those college kids are still going to be at home in their hometown or whatever, not on campus, still doing the same things and getting this? Probably the majority of them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like this whole, let's shut everything down is never going to work the way people think it would. It just won't. We got to move the ball forward and be smart about it.
And respond accordingly.
Yeah. And so panicking and pulling the trigger too early, I think, was a mistake on their part.
When we come back, Michael Woodson, he's the now head coach of Baylor men's tennis. He'll join us, and then we'll have Dublin's Bob Servetto as they opened up that new stadium with a win, and the Central Texas Players of the Week brought to you by Burt Colgan Ford. This is Sikkim 365 Radio. Petty Clinic Low T. Dr. Kent Petty can help you become the high-performance man that you want to be from all sorts of different angles of your life. Energy, sex drive, feeling better across the board. Maybe you felt lethargic. Maybe you just haven't felt right. Something's missing. As you get older, there's chances that your testosterone levels can change based on sleep, diet, age, and just father time. Your testosterone levels can drop. And so why not find out where your level is compared to where it needs to be? And you do that by contacting Dr. Kent Petty and his staff at pettycliniclowt.com. That's pettycliniclowt.com. This is what he'll do. He'll send you to get your blood work. Tell him Smokey sent you. You can get a discount on your blood work. He'll send you to get your blood work and then look at your testosterone level. And if it's too low, he'll put you in a program to raise the testosterone level and help you become the high-performance man that you want to be. It's pettycliniclowt.com, pettycliniclowt.com.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
If you or a loved one or friend has been arrested and you can't afford bail, trust Terry and Chase Chapman at Chapman's Bail Bonds, covering Waco and McLennan County for over 25 years. Chapman's can bail you out anywhere with experienced, knowledgeable local agents who are committed to serving you professionally, respectfully, and with the highest integrity. Chapman's understands your privacy is important. Your freedom can be secured fast when you use Chapman's Bail Bonds. Open 24 hours a day. Payment arrangements available. Call Chapman's Bail Bonds. When you need help, 254-754-1603. When you ring, we'll spring.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Boots add protection. Good boots help you climb better and move forward faster. And when your son or daughter steps into the boots of a U.S. Army officer, they also learn how to lead. In these boots, they'll gain more confidence with expert training in one of more than 150 occupational specialties. In these boots, they'll stand a little taller and lead a team with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise to successfully accomplish whatever challenge comes next. In these boots, they'll earn respect with valuable experience from day one that will give them solid footing for success into the future. Highly qualified candidates who earn a spot on our team can receive comprehensive health care coverage, college tuition assistance, and a bonus of up to $40,000. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
This segment on Baylor Athletics on Sikkim 365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics.
Baylor tennis head coach Michael Woodson announced some staff updates to his staff, and we'll have that in just a second. Baylor men's tennis, of course, has put up some huge numbers, awards, honors, etc., banners, and more over the years. And Michael Woodson joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. Craig Smoke, Paul Catalina. I'm David Smoke. I got to tell you this, Michael. Thank you for being a part of the show. Congratulations on the promotion as well. But when that news came down that you were going to get an opportunity to replace Brian Boland, my text messages, and I'm not a part so much of the tennis community other than the fact Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness is an amazing place. But my text messages blew up from those who know you, how happy they were for you. What did that mean to you?
Oh, it means the world to me. I've had an opportunity to meet some amazing people here in the Waco community, and really, it feels like home for me and my family. To be a part of the Baylor family has been incredible so far, and just very fortunate to be able to continue to work here and to have this opportunity. I mean, it's my dream job at 31 years old. I couldn't be more thankful.
Michael, you've been here for a few years, and again, like this opportunity kind of comes out of the blue. But you've been there and watching and nurturing these guys. When did you feel like you were ready to be a head coach?
Honestly, I think the older you get, the more you realize you don't know. And, I would say that to have an opportunity to learn from two national championship head coaches, and in addition to a coach at Valpo who'd spent 35 years, developing young men into contributing members of society, I feel like it was probably within the last 2 years after I had an opportunity to see Brian Boland work and to work under him and see just what national championship culture is like. I would say probably after last year, I felt like I was ready to truly take the plunge. I think as a young man, you are ambitious and you feel like you know everything and you're ready. But I would say after my 7th year coaching was when I really felt like when the right opportunity comes along for me and my family that it would be time.
Michael, where did the love of tennis come from?
I started, my mom was definitely the one that liked tennis more. My dad, obviously being in baseball, I would say is not a huge fan of tennis, so has come to enjoy it because of me. I think, I actually got into it a little bit late. A couple of my close friends played, and I wanted to just go out and be on their team in JV in the 7th grade, and just picked up a racket, went out and made the team, and the rest is history.
So you have that connection to the Drew family. There's that
I
Yeah,
do. Homer actually called me earlier today, and I talked to him for a while. We played racquetball together 3 times a week when I was at Balbo.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Now he's
I
not.
did.
He's. We've had him on. He's an incredible guy as well. But is he at Scott Drew level of happiness and positivity?
Yeah, at least. I mean, he's going through a little battle of his own right now, and just called me to congratulate me and just said how happy and when am I going to be in Phoenix so that I can come visit them. And I mean, what an incredible family. I mean, from Bryce to Scott, I mean, and Homer, it's just, they've been instrumental in teaching me and getting to watch them, lead is pretty special. You
are known as a player's coach from those in the community that I've talked to and around college tennis. But the assistant coach is always probably more popular sometimes than the head coach. Can you keep that as a head coach?
Gosh, I hope so. I'm sure I'm going to have to deal in some difficult situations, and I've already had to address a few things with families and relationships around the program. But certainly want to be somebody that respects everybody and treats everybody like you want to be treated. I feel like it's just such an honor to be able to work alongside these incredibly talented young men day in and day out. And I'm sure there will be times where I'm going to have to hold them accountable and be tougher on them than they would like. But I think, we're doing everything in their best interest to try to develop them for the long term.
You're also, stepping into the head coaching role of a program that you helped build. That's not, you're not taking over somebody who doesn't know what they're doing in tennis. Like you've got a lot of good players. How much easier does it make it for you to step in knowing that you've got a roster that's pretty well built?
I think it makes, it makes everything easier. I mean, we've got 3 grad transfers that are here that are, seasoned veterans. We've got a bunch of upperclassmen. Everybody has at least been in college tennis before as a player. And so I think that makes the transition easier. And frankly, they've been so mature, so positive. They've had great perspective. And I would say that's a credit to the culture that's been built here over the years to make the transition. It's about as seamless for me as possible.
Michael, I was reading the piece that KWTX put out yesterday talking about the blue wristbands and how that ties into the relationship with your late mother. Really good story that Darby Brown did. For those who have not had the opportunity, but maybe they've wondered or how, I guess want to know more kind of about that background. Can you talk about that a little bit?
For sure. Yeah, no, it's a really special story for me, and Darby certainly painted me in a better light than I deserved. But my mom was killed by a drunk driver in a car accident on a Thursday afternoon, November of my senior year. And my dad and my stepmom are the two that delivered the news. And it was my mom and I were close. My dad was playing and then coaching in professional baseball, and so I spent a lot of time with my mom growing up, and it was a really difficult circumstance for me. And back when I was younger, my mom and I started wearing blue rubber bands on our left wrists. And we used it as we got separated and had to do different things. Difficult times, my mom taught me we're going to have these rubber bands on our wrists, and in case we're not together, we're going through something difficult, we can look at it and know, well, we have each other's back. We may be in different places, but we've always got each other. And it meant something then, but when I lost my mom, it really took that meaning to a whole new level. And so I still to this day wear the blue rubber band, and we're working through our team values right now, and once we've developed those, we'll have blue rubber bands made for each of our players and staff members to wear, because I think it's just a great message to know that you have a team full of people that have your back, even if we may be on different courts, we may be in different countries, we may be going through something really tough, but you've got a family of individuals that have got your back.
That's a very thanks for sharing that story. We appreciate you doing that. So you have the transition, Coach Bolin. Everyone knows his resume. He's gone, just gone. And now you take over. But you've been one of the Army ants and worker bees, and it's not like you don't have this great relationship in recruiting as well. In the end, where are you as a program with a lot of either transfers or those who committed to Baylor, and what you have coming back to load up for next year?
I think we have a lot to be excited about. The guys, we have a huge team. We're going to have probably 15 in January, But we've got some immense talent and a lot of upperclassmen. I mean, we will have 5 guys in the spring that have played number 1 on their team, at Power 5 schools. And so it's a fun group. I think, from top to bottom, we've got 15 guys that can contribute. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how it all plays out. I think, they're just excited. A lot of these guys want to be pros, or they want to be coaches in the future, just want to maximize themselves. And the combination between the players and the staff just couldn't be more excited to get to work and, see where we can go here in the next few months.
I have learned that you are very much instrumental in making sure young players, either ones you've coached or even those who you haven't, are involved in trying to get their traction in professional tennis with younger, talented players coming out of the collegiate ranks or not. How important is that in your opinion?
I think it's critical. I mean, these young men they have such a gift and a talent that is not going to last forever, right? Your body isn't going to be able to do this for the long term. And so why not, give it your best shot? Why not chase your dreams? I mean, these young men grow up, and so many do, wanting to, be the next Roger Federer, the next Rafael Nadal. And it's something that I don't want to see these guys take for granted. They just have a gift that I didn't have, and many, 99.99% of the world don't have. So I just want to see them, take their best shot at living out their dream. And some of them will make it. And I mean, look at the U.S. Open today, multiple college players winning in the first round. And I think, it's becoming more and more of a stepping stone to the pro game. And, I think that's why young men are choosing Baylor. And I'm very proud to say that.
You, if I was to say, hey, I want to meet you for lunch or meet you I don't drink coffee, but if I did, where would I find you if I wanted to meet you for a drink?
You would probably find me at Common Ground.
There you go. That's what I heard.
Safe bet.
By the way, Britt Coleman gave me that little nugget from Waco Regional Tennis. He goes, if you want, he goes, hey, we're going to meet at Britt Common Grounds. That's where it's going to be, right? That's where you're going to end up. Did you really? You're a triple major. You didn't pick basket weaving, and I'm nothing with, by the way, physical education or anything like that. Or you picked biology, chemistry, and exercise science. How did you manage all that?
Honestly, when I transferred from NC State, I had 96 credits, and I was trying to when I went to Valpo, and that's where my dad was the baseball coach at the time, trying to figure out how I was going to play 3 years of college tennis there. I had completed basically all of the biology requirements and most of the chemistry, and had to pick a different major. It was actually tricky to be able to go in, and I had to actually repeat classes that I had taken at NC State, because you have to take half of each major at Valpo. And so I took a bunch of classes in the summers and, added a major, and it was an interesting experience, but honestly, just, had unbelievable professors and an amazing experience there to be able to do that. It sounds pretty daunting looking at it, but just had unbelievable professors, and at Valpo, everybody wanted you to learn and to, really understand the material. And I felt super honored to have that opportunity to do that. And I'm very proud to be an alum from that university.
Michael, you've actually witnessed me playing tennis. Do you want to? Can you grade that, or do you not? Should I not want you to do that?
No, I mean, I think it's a solid B plus.
Thank you.
That's pretty good.
Are you a 2.0, 3.0? Is that what is that called? The level? Yeah. Michael.
Yes. 3.5 maybe.
Okay. Yeah. There you go. Michael, congratulations on the opportunity. Thanks for your time. Appreciate you sharing your story as well about your mother and just everything in general. I know it was a whirlwind these last couple of months. Not only did Baylor men's basketball, women's basketball, with obviously other sports were thinking about having a run, but men's tennis obviously was loaded up as well among the golf teams. And so hate that it got shut down. I know you guys are biting at the bullet or whatever you can biting at the bit. Good luck. Thanks for your time and appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate the support. Sick and Bears.
Michael Woodson, the interim head coach, Baylor men's tennis coach.
Yeah.
He also, Isaac has been promoted to full-time assistant coach, and George Goldoff has been named the volunteer assistant coach.
Yeah, I believe Goldoff comes over from Texas, where he had a really good career. That's not a bad place to pluck, some experience from. Is a guy who played at Texas because they have a very strong program as well. So yeah, putting his own touches on the program. Now it's his. He's got that interim title for this year, but go out, have a successful season, and rip that interim off. And he said, I'm 31, living my dream job. So I think that's pretty awesome to be just 31 years old and having your dream gig, and kind of, as he was explaining, the way it all came together over the years and all of that. It was very interesting to hear. But definitely compliments to Darby Brown from KWTX for that piece that she had on Coach and his late mother. I was fortunate to be able to see that last night and knew we were having him on today, and I was like, oh, great. Like, that's perfect timing. So I was glad I was able to at least ask him about that. But definitely check out Darby Brown's piece on KWTX if you get a chance.
Thanks to Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac Baylor Bear Hotline, brought to you by them. And Richard Goff, who's a big fantasy football fan. We're looking at that, of course, coming up here in a week or two with the NFL and much more. When we come back, Dublin head coach Bob Servetto, he's been around a while. The stadium is named after him. They had their opening game of that stadium, in fact, on Friday, and we'll discuss that with him. Then our Central Texas Players of the Week, brought to you by Burt Colgin Ford. Colin Brent, former Baylor linebacker, will join us at 5:15. This is Sikkim 365 Radio. Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. Ted Teague, in fact, just a moment ago sent me a text. Colin Brent's like married his niece. There's always this connection, right? Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, right now wrapping up the month of August. Ram 2020 Lone Star Crew Cabs have 0% for 72 months and no payments for 90 days. World's most awarded SUV, the Jeep Grand Cherokee, 0% for 72 months, no payments for 90 days. Same offer on the Jeep Cherokee, the Renegade, and the Compass. Also, right now, if you're looking for a car, they are loaded up. The inventory's there, and one of the reasons why is, one, because they're selling a lot of cars, but also because, well, honestly, they have connections through dealerships in 5 or so other states. They could get whatever car you want. If they don't have it, they'll find it for you and get it to you quickly. If you don't want to go to the dealership, you're a little bit concerned still about social distancing and COVID, well, you can go online, AlanSamuelsDCJ.com, and they will actually let you, they'll bring it to you, the car to you. If that's something you want to test drive, or possibly if that's what you want to buy, they'll bring it to you. Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, and September about to start, and more incentives and discounts for you. I'll have that for you tomorrow. Loop 340 east of 84 in Waco.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 260,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans in all Texan ways of life.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram. Mazzana Construction is celebrating 52 years as an award-winning, family-owned and operated business excelling in general construction and construction management. Mazzana Construction is proud to support Connolly ISD's tradition of excellence in education and athletics, including owners calling Connolly High their alma mater, Vicky Mazzana, class of 1974, and Aaron Miner from the class of 2002. Mazzana Construction, celebrating 50-plus years by building trust with quality work. MazzanaConstruction.com.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved. and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Texas Board Certified Personal Injury Trial Lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recall drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com. Principal office located in Houston, Texas.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. This high school football segment is sponsored by Southwest Sports Medicine. We'll get you back in the game.
Dublin beat De Leon 33-7 the opening night of the Texas high school opening weekend of the Texas high school football season. Bob Cervetto, the head coach at Dublin, he joins us now on Sikkim 365 Radio. What was it like to go coach a game and your name, along with your wife, is on the stadium, on the field?
Well, I'm not going to lie to you, man. It was pretty awesome, pretty humbling, to have this stadium, on our campus and, just be able to go outside the door and walk across the parking lot to the field. I mean, just all of it was one heck of a night, man. It's really neat for the kids.
What was your reaction? Because this was really announced in the fall of last year. What was your reaction when they told you this was going to happen, or did you kind of know it was going to happen?
Well, I knew we were going. Dr. Snyder wanted to go ahead and do this during football season. We did get the track, and then the school board wanted to go ahead and move the stadium in with the new track facility, and so all this was going on. And we hosted district track meet. And Doc said, I'd really like to, make it formal, during football season. I said, Doc, it's your show. Do whatever you want to do. So, but when he told me that he was going to name the deal, I said, Doc, there's 100 people in Dublin that you can name it after that's been here, lifelong residents that have been really awesome. He said, well, it's a 7-0 vote, and that's what we're going to do. And I said, well, then you need to put my wife's name on it, too, because she's put up with it for 41 years.
Well, Coach, do you tell your team, like, listen, if we win one game, let's do this one because they're naming the stadium after us tonight. I want to make sure.
No, I tell you what, I really, on a radio show Friday morning, we didn't, I told the guy that does it, I said, man, let's talk about the kids. Let's talk about, getting better in the season and getting over COVID and, not doing anything since March because that's really the main story. I mean, this was kind of a side drop, and I didn't want to take away from the kids' experience. But, the kids were great. And after the game, there's a big celebration in the locker room and stuff. And, it was really, really a cool deal.
Coach, I imagine at this point you've had an opportunity to go back and watch some film, do things like that, getting ready for this next week. What popped off the tape to you about your team's performance this past week?
Well, it was fun just to watch the kids play. I mean, we hadn't done anything since March, and we had a very inexperienced team. I think we had maybe 2 offensive starters, and we did have 2, and one decided to take his school virtual, so he couldn't play. So we had 1 returner on defense. We had no idea what would show up, and we were so excited just the way the kids responded and played. We started a sophomore quarterback, and by the second half, he looked like he'd been out there for like 10 games. So it was really neat. It gives us hope for the season. We're really excited about it. We have some kids that had to grow up on Friday nights because they did okay on Thursday. But, there's their first Friday night, this last one. So, and it was a big Friday night, with it being on campus and everything.
Bob, you took over a program that had no success, basically none. No, very few, the exception was if they made the playoffs. And one year they made it, they were 4-7, and that was about 12 or 13 years before you showed up. Your first year, I think you guys were 0-10, 1-9, 2-8.
No, we got one, baby.
Okay.
We got 1-9.
Okay.
Don't shortchange it.
We haven't been on.
All right.
I might have been on suicide watch.
Yeah. Well, they were 1-9, 1-9, and 0-10 when you took the job. Then you've built it up from 1-9 to where you are 7-5 and 14, 5 and. You've made the playoffs, I think, at least 4 or 5 times in your 9 years. This is your 10th. What was it about this job you felt like you could turn it around?
Well, it's a great community, great kids and everything. And I think one of the things, having been, I was with Art Browse for about, 15 years at Stephenville. And, and it was pretty much a doormat when he showed up. And, and I watched him kind of grow that thing. And and I told my buddy, Coach Hardcastle, had been with me since 1990. I mean, I've been with him just 10 years less than my wife. And I said, Greg, I think the community has hit rock bottom like Stephenville did back in 86, 87. I said, I think they're ready to, invest and put into it and really see if we can get something going. And, we've got a tough clientele. We got 80% low SES. We've got 70% Hispanic. And, these kids, all they wanted was somebody to love them, give them hope. And, and I've been fortunate to have a great staff, and these guys, could be coaching anywhere in the state of Texas, and they came to Dublin, Texas, man. And so, all of a sudden, these kids are starting to believe we got to, when I got here, I opened up a door to the room, and they said, Coach, you want to see the weight room? I said, sure. And this is a 60 by 60 room. I didn't have nothing in it, but it was 60 by 60. I said, where do I sign? I said, right here gives us hope if we got a room this big. So, through it all, and like I said, the support of the school board and Dr. Snyder, we've redid our weight room floors. We've got 3 gyms on campus. We've redid our baseball field, softball field, and new lighted batting cages with LED lights, and they're covered. And, just the kids walking around a little taller now, like they're not second-class citizens. So big investment from the community, which has really helped. I mean, there's excitement here. There's businesses coming to town, and what once was kind of an eyesore, it's all of a sudden it's a stopping place. We're going to host our district track meet again this year. We have Brock and Peaster and all those guys, and they're going to come to Dublin, Texas, to run in the district track meet.
That's awesome.
Then we're going to host either the area meet either this year or next year. So people are kind of seeing that, this investment has brought a lot into the community. So once the money was going out, now we got the money coming in. So they're kind of seeing the reward and benefit.
You won a state championship as a player in baseball at Duncanville. I know we're up against the top of the hour when you were at Duncanville. And then, of course, you mentioned the 4 championships with Coach Browse at Stephenville. Did you see where he started year 2 with a win, and he started off one of the one? You think he's going to win pretty big this year at Mount Vernon?
Well, I tell you what, man, I'm an Art believer. I've seen him take kids that, I've seen him take kids that everybody gave up on and see team football players in junior high and make all state, as a senior. And I thought, there's a guy that didn't kick a kid to the curb. And that's another thing that is unique. That we've got a staff that does the same thing here. So, I got a lot of guys come up and say, I can't believe you still got that kid. I said, that one day that kid's going to be something for us. So it's come through. So we hope to make the playoffs 5 out of 10 years this year. So here we go.
Thank you very much, Bob. Congratulations on the first one against De Leon. Good luck, and thanks for your time.
Oh, man, listen, go have a great day, okay?
You too. That's Bob Servetto. Sounds like you're going to have a great day. Coach Servetto, they beat De Leon to open it up. Now, here are the Central Texas High School Football Players of the Week, brought to you by Burt Colgan Ford on the Loop in your Waco's Ford dealership on the Loop 340 in Waco. The Offensive Player of the Week, Trey Wisner, the sophomore who exploded onto the scene against Sunnyvale. 12 carries officially for 236 yards and 4 touchdowns. I had him for 268, but he had a 46-yard run. I think that's what was also called back on a holding call, which Connolly had 4 or 5 of those. Defensive Player of the Week is Jordan Rogers. Was a linebacker, now a safety. committed to Pittsburgh State, the senior from La Vega. 24 tackles in the debut win against Calhoun, 17 solo, 2 behind the line of scrimmage, and also caused a fumble. And our special teams player of the week is Madisonville's Jeremiah Burns in their win against Diboll 49-20. He was 3 punt returns for 89 yards, including taking one back for 70 yards and a touchdown.
And this week, Trey Wisner will be looking to avoid being tackled by Jordan Rogers. And Jordan
he's just going to have to deal with it.
Jordan Rogers will look to make sure that Trey Wisner does not have a 200-plus yard rushing game this week.
A couple of other individual games that were not at least selected, but Emmanuel Abdallah back. Here we go again with him, the running back. 269 yards rushing against Benbrook, scored 4 times.
From China Spring.
Yep, China Springs. Kavion Gaither had 238 and 2 scores for Conley. Rodriel Freeman not only rushed for 203 yards and 3 touchdowns, but then you turn around and you see what he does on defense. 9 tackles, 4 tackles for losses, a sack, and 2 quarterback pressures. Caden Johnson from Abbott, that's a huge win for them against Avalon. They win big, 58-37, 376 yards and 7 touchdowns.
Lost that game. Imagine that.
Yeah, I did too.
Lost an Abbott pick.
My 6-man picks are horrible. Now, Jacob Robinson from Leon, 442 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. His coach Sitton, tells me he was 23 of 52, which is not a great percentage. He had 15 drops in that game. He threw for 442 with 15 drops.
If you have 7 drops, he's probably at 550.
Maybe, yeah, obviously. And there was others that had big games as well, but those are some of the ones to spotlight that so far in week number 1. And so those are the Burt Colgan Ford, Texas Built Ford Tough. Central Texas Players of the Week. I'm on the Texas Built Ford Tough statewide committee. We're, in fact, voting here between now and tomorrow morning. They'll announce those winners in all the various classifications sometime probably tomorrow. This is Sikkim 365 Radio. Labor Day specials at Waco Custom Marketplace. I saw this on their Facebook page. Labor Day specials for the next week. Labor Day specials for the next week. 8-count hamburger buns, $2.50 a piece. 3 1-pound patties, hamburger patties, a case of them. 3-in-1 hamburger patty, a case for $37.50. Perfect for you to cook out. Hostess for the mostest, right? 8-count hot dog buns. Again, just $2.50 a piece. Regular summer sausage. Jalapeno cheese summer sausage. They have it on sale. St. Louis ribs, baby back ribs, pork spare ribs. Tri-tip is $4.59 a pound. Beef short ribs, $5.50 a pound. Prime brisket, $3.10 a pound. Imported catfish, $35 a pound. Now, on this picture on Facebook, all of that I've told you, and then in the background you see the incredibly good-looking marbled ribeye steaks where you can get them custom cut for you, whether it's an inch and a half, or even thicker, fillets with bacon wrap or not. And then if you want a prime rib, whatever pound, 3, 4, 6, 8-pound prime rib, they'll do that for you. Custom cut it. The bakery filled with kolaches and all the various desserts and cookies and sweets. And they have now pre-cooked meals. The pre-cooked meals at Waco Custom Marketplace, which are large portions for you. Waco Custom Marketplace is your tailgate store. Yes, I know Baylor's not going to tailgate on campus or on Baylor property, but Brazos parking across the street on MLK, they will. So if you need product, contact Brian Bauer, contact Waco Custom Marketplace, or for just yourself at 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
The biggest, the baddest, and proven to be the best. Ram is back-to-back Motor Trend Truck of the Year. Now, get the Ram you've been waiting for less from your friend in the car business, Alan Samuels. A new loaded-up 2020 Ram 1500 Longhorn 4x4. Now with a whopping $12,000 off, and first responders receive an additional $500. Big summer clearance event savings from the Ram leader, Alan Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Ask for details. All offers with approved credit.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Graham Property Company will give you the best opportunities and services to navigate and achieve your real estate goals. At Graham Property Company, we strive to establish lasting relationships built on service and performance. Whether you are buying, leasing, selling, or investing, our real estate portfolio and expertise can facilitate your needs no matter what real estate or property need you may encounter. Graham Property Company, property sales, acquisitions, leasing, and management at GrahamInvestmentCo.com.
The biggest, the baddest, and proven to be the best. Ram is back-to-back Motor Trend Truck of the Year. Now, get the Ram you've been waiting for less from your friend in the car business, Alan Samuels. A new loaded-up 2020 Ram 1500 Longhorn 4x4. Now with a whopping $12,000 off, and first responders receive an additional $500. Big summer clearance event savings from the Ram leader, Alan Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Ask for details. All offers with approved credit.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
Here's Webb to gate the right side. There goes Kavion. Look at him go. What a move. 20. Goodbye. Touchdown. Kavion Gaither, my goodness. 42 yards. Made a move and down to his hand on the ground to keep his balance.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Ben Erlinson, who'll navigate you through today's financial climate. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
All right, so the Big Ten, this is, you know that someone was going to find this information. Nebraska's lawsuit to try to continue to play at least led to the 11-3 vote. We discussed that about an hour ago. But now, Adam Rittenberg from ESPN, league sources telling us that Nebraska, Ohio State, and Iowa are the three schools that voted against postponing the fall season. And that, of course, should not surprise it. We knew Nebraska, Iowa made sense. And the other one was either Penn State, Ohio State, or Michigan, right? Yep. You would think. So Desmond Howard, sir, you bitter little whatever you are sometimes about Nebraska because they won a national championship that year. Mm-hmm. Heisman Trophy winner. And I love Desmond Howard. He was not very nice to me one time when we did an interview when Baylor was about to play TCU. Didn't like the fact that I asked him questions.
He was
or
rude,
argued with him.
He was rude to us. Craig, you were there, right? In New Orleans? Were you there in New Orleans when he was very rude?
He's got a little vinegar in him.
He sat down at a table at a radio station next to us waiting for them, and they weren't there. And we walked up to him and said, hey, if you're just waiting, do you have 5 minutes? We could record something quick. And he snapped at me.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, all right, dude.
Yeah, you're not, you know what? You're a hell of a football player. And I loved him as a player. Redskins, drafted him. Of course, he floundered. He won a Super Bowl with Green Bay. But he was furious with Nebraska. How dare you want to continue to play? Now, how furious will he be now in his Ohio State the Michigan rival.
He already hates them, so just more fuel to that fire. I mean, I could take or leave Desmond Howard. He's fine, but he's not must-watch TV by any means, and not the reason why I would tune in to game day. But I know there's people out there that value his opinion, and certainly he's got a great perspective as not only just a good college football player, but a great college football player, as you mentioned with the Heisman Trophy and just how versatile he was. But, yeah, it's interesting. The Big Ten's also filed a response, or not filed a response, but they've sent out a response in regards to the information coming out today on the vote. And we've established that the fact that we now know the voting numbers for the Big Ten is directly as a result of this lawsuit by Nebraska football players. And the Big Ten in their statement said that they filed a response in opposition to the motion for expedited discovery filed by 8 University of Nebraska football players, rejecting each of these 3 assertions. 1, voted to postpone the fall sports season. Well, now they today showed that, yes, we did, in fact, vote to postpone the fall season. Before, there was a bit of murkiness there. Reached an 11-3 decision, which far exceeds the 60% threshold required by the Big Ten's bylaws, so check there. And 3, based its decision on multiple factors, including the medical advice and counsel of the Big Ten Task Force for Emerging Infectious Diseases and the Big Ten Sports Medicine Committee. So just shooting holes in the allegations, basically, in this lawsuit. And this lawsuit doesn't look like it's probably going to go too far, but it's at least making them squirm a little bit.
Well, they're having to give out some information because there are affidavits, right, under oath.
Yep.
All right, it's 5:07. When we come back at 5:15, or a little bit before that, Colin Brents played linebacker for Baylor. His dad was a football coach at Plano. He's next on Sikkim 365 Radio.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine. My gosh, you hear me talking about it all the time. And I, as a fan of, libations, I like to go into places and look around and see what's new, maybe what I haven't tried. I also like to, when I get a gift for somebody, I like to get a good recommendation on something if I don't know everything about it. And Riverbend Liquor and Wine is fantastic at that. I'm not one of these people who pretends to know anything about wine. I know that there's red and there's white and there's rosé. And I know that there's certain types in between, but I couldn't tell you why one tastes different than another. But they can do that at Riverbend Liquor and Wine. Plus, if you're a craft beer fan, you've got to go into Riverbend Liquor and Wine and go into that walk-in fridge and see all the fantastic craft beers that they have there. Unbelievable. If you like craft beer, that's the place to go to feed your love of craft beer. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, locally owned and operated. Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
When we moved to Texas, we were like fish out of water. We didn't know anyone in our neighborhood until our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent came to the house. She was so helpful and reassuring, a friendly face with that Texan hospitality I'd heard about. When we purchased a Texas Farm Bureau insurance policy, we knew we were making the right choice. We knew our family would be protected.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of health care while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of health care has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like our free First mobile app, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. That's the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi, great priced chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco, house-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine, best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lakeyard Drive in Waco or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
This segment on Baylor Athletics on Sikkim 365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics.
So yesterday when I was reaching out to Colin Brents, former Baylor linebacker, he didn't answer my call. That's fine. There's a lot of spam calls out of the 903. And then I text him. He goes, then he comes to me, he goes, Mr. Smoke, I'm sorry. I wish I could read it exactly what it was in a way. I'm sorry I didn't recognize the number, and I'm watching. What did you say, Colin, about the Mavericks? What did you say, getting taken a beating or whatever it was?
Yeah, they're getting absolutely worked at the time.
Yeah.
They made a comeback after that, but rough day yesterday for the Mavs.
What are your thoughts of their future with now what we've seen a couple of years of Luka?
Gosh, I mean, how fortunate are we up here in Dallas to have Luka? I mean, he is just absolutely incredible. My wife is still upset with me for waking her up and getting all crazy after that shot a couple weeks ago. I mean, it's just so much fun watching him, and I hope that KP can be healthy over the course of his career. But yeah, I mean, the future is bright. If we can get a defender in here, kind of a punisher, to stop guys like Morris from picking on Luka, then we're going to have a really bright future.
Yeah, I think Mavericks fans have a new enemy, don't they?
Yes, absolutely.
Colin, your thoughts on Baylor the last couple of years with Coach Rule and now transitioning into Coach Aranda. As a defensive guy, you're probably enjoying some of this, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean it's been fun. You in the past, you didn't watch Baylor to watch defense. As a player, you had to defend. I mean, no pun intended, but you had to defend yourself all the time because of the defense. So to see it not necessarily flip, because, I mean, the offense has still been strong, but this defense has just been incredible, and what Coach Rule was able to implement, and from a physical standpoint and just, the results has been really awesome. And, we're sad that he left last year, but You got a new guy coming in from LSU, and kind of a similar background to what we used to have at Baylor in terms of just a ridiculously high-scoring offense and a defense that wouldn't necessarily have the crazy defensive stats because of what they did on the offensive side. But when you really look at the points per possession and the turnovers and some of those things, you realize how good that defense really was. So, yeah, I'm really excited about what Coach Arando is going to do, and he's built in just an all-star cast of coaches, and it's going to be fun. I just hope that we have the opportunity to watch all 9 or however many games there's going to be this year.
Amen to that, Colin. Amen to that. As a defensive player during that explosive offensive era, how big of a chip on your shoulder was there, and just for your fellow defenders, because it was the offense getting a lot of the headlines, and deservedly so, of course. But I mean, how much of a grind axe or chip on your shoulder did you guys have as defenders?
It was pretty big. I mean, people just don't understand. I mean, you talk to the SEC homers, and they point at how bad the defense is in the Big 12, and specifically Baylor were. They just don't understand. They don't understand the fact that we're literally running twice as many plays in a game, and our offense is putting us out there after, if we have a 10-play drive and hold them to a field goal, that's a huge win. But then when you got Bryce Petty throwing 70 yards down the field to Corey Coleman, and we're jumping right back out there, it gets pretty challenging. So, we'd use it as a way to motivate us and just try to go out there and let our offense do what they do and just, defend to the best of our ability. I think we did a really, really great job of that.
Your first year was your true freshman year out of Plano in 2011. And you mainly were a part of special teams the first couple of years. The fact that that's the year that Coach Bennett arrived. In fact, it was 2011. Was there a fact that you guys said, hey, if we could just get one more stop per half with the way the offense played, we'd probably win the game?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we had those games literally. I mean, if you look at the West Virginia game in 2012, I mean, it was literally just enough to where you're pulling your hair out just saying, get one stop and we're going to win this game because our offense is going to score. Of course, we couldn't take care of business in that game, but most of the other games, especially in 2013 and 2014, I mean, our defense was really solid. And like I said, I don't think we really got enough credit as a defense for, being able to get the opposing offense off the field. And that's what we just kept on saying is just get our offense the ball and they'll do what they always do, which is score. And just had to make sure we took every opportunity to get a turnover. And, if we could get off the field more times than their defense, then we were going to win, no doubt about it.
Going into your senior year, fall camp, you earned a scholarship, and we just saw a couple of days ago where Dave Aranda awarded 3 players scholarships. You were also nominated for the Burlsworth Trophy for Outstanding Former Walk-On. What's that like as a walk-on to get the scholarship officially?
It's awesome. I mean, it's what you work your tail off every single day for, and it's just a way. We didn't get us walk-ons. We didn't get the signing day and all the balloons and the big fancy letter of intent. We didn't get that. So being told we're going to be put on scholarship, in addition, especially at Baylor, to relieving you or your parents of some pretty big financial stress, it's just a huge accomplishment, and just it's the ultimate way of telling yourself, all this was earned, and all this, everything went into this for a reason, and it's all paid out. It's just a really special way. I wouldn't change it any other way other than maybe the student loan debt, but everything makes for a great story.
One of these days when you write the last check for that student loan, you pop the bubbly, okay? You just pop the.
It's a great day, man. I'll tell you.
It really is. Now.
No, I'm happy to say that it's behind me.
Man, that's fantastic. Oh, that's even better. Yeah, as a coach's kid, did you have almost an advantage? Because I was even told that you could coach players that you played with, teammates that respected you enough because your dad, Gerald, was a head coach as well. How much of an advantage is it? That doesn't mean it's obvious or easy or do you make it, but the fact that you were a coach's kid, how much did that help?
It definitely helped. I mean, honestly, it helped because I came in and my dad had a relationship with Coach Bennett and Coach Briles. So I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say that that didn't help. My name was, quicker to their mouths than some of the other walk-ons. But the other part of that is you have to take advantage of it. And that certainly came into play. I was able to step in and pick up the terminology and the playbook and just how things fit together. I mean, it's a big puzzle out there. And I was able to pick that up pretty quickly. And ultimately, if you're just able to get on the field and give yourself the opportunity, then at that point, it's just putting your body in the right place to make the play when it comes to you. And I was fortunate enough to be given the opportunity as a true freshman in practice right away. And like I said, I was able to make the most of it in a couple opportunities and just get myself a spot. And then it's just a matter of every day, day in and day out, making the most of the opportunities you're given.
Is it quite often like an anonymous life being a walk-on for guys?
Yes and no. It sometimes. I mean, you're certainly not pushed to the front of the lines. I mean, they're literally paying for other people to play, and they're not paying for you. So it's return on investment, right? So it's I had quite a few guys that I had to step over to get on the depth chart to get to where I was my senior year, and it's just a matter of, like I said, making the most of your opportunities because you don't get typically as many as the scholarship guys.
Colin, when you look back on your time at Baylor, what's a game that stands out to you that, like, hey, if I could go play in that game and just relive it the way that it was, that's the game that I would go and play in again? And on the negative side, what's the game that's the one that's just still a spur in your side all these years later?
Good question. I'd say the typical answer is going to be the 61-58 TCU game. Uh-huh. And obviously there's not many that can compare to that one. But in addition to that, I'd say playing in Austin in 2014 against Texas and playing, I mean, that's the stadium. If you grow up in Texas as a football fan, that's the stadium, DKR. So being able to beat them the way we did, I mean, we were up 28-0 and had them 4th and 6 and got a pass interference penalty, or else we would have shut them out for the first time since like the 60s at their home stadium. And literally hearing the stadium echo with BU chants and Baylor chants and seeing that stadium, completely empty. And we did the same thing to Oklahoma, a few weeks later. Probably, I don't know for sure, but it's definitely one of Bob Stoops' worst losses at their stadium at home. So those two really stick out to me because those are just two epic stadiums, and to win as Baylor, little Baylor, that was just an experience that I'll never forget.
Is there a game that still bothers you to this day?
Yeah, I try not to answer that one. But
I know.
No, that West Virginia game, my senior year, 2014. Yeah. I mean, again, first answer may have been Cotton Bowl for a lot of people, but West Virginia, we probably should have won that game, and it's just one of those games that nothing felt right. No one was at their best. And it was an early game, a little bit colder than we were used to. We were just coming off the high of that TCU win, and we just came out flat. And we were the better team, I think, that year especially, and we just did not show it. And had we won that game, there wouldn't have been any doubt in terms of the playoff scenario. And so that's one that just really sucks. Wish we would have played better.
What did you tell Coach Bennett about starting? What was the back and forth conversation with him that you were going to be a day one starter? Do you remember that?
Gosh, I don't know.
He said to me, he goes, you told him I'm going to be a day one starter. I think it was before your sophomore year. And so he came up to you in his little smart ass way. Of course, that's like
not Phil Bennett.
A1 sauce in his way. said something, okay, I'm going to name you a starter on special teams or something like that, and you said, just give me a chance. Do you remember that at all?
The only thing I can remember, if anything, I mean, I came to spring practice, and I was a guy that wasn't highly recruited, but I just had this ignorance that I was going to do it at the next level. Like
Yep.
there was no other option. And, you know, looking back at it now, it seems a lot harder than I ever knew, but that helped me, right? Because it was never another option to not play at the highest level. And I came up to spring practice, and not that they didn't have a good secondary, but I looked out and looked at their safeties at the time. I was a safety, and I told him, I said, Coach, I can play here. And that was before I went to Baylor. And again, there's a lot of, I was humbled very quickly, but, but I just had that ignorant confidence coming from a big high school and being a coach's kid. And it just kind of helped me get that first opportunity at two-a-days and fall camp going into my freshman year. And I was fortunate enough to get thrown in there without really any other previous reps, and I think it was like the second drive I got a pick six, and I was able to claim the second team cover safety position ever since then, and that got me on special teams, which helped me get my letter, and the rest was history. So yeah, it was a huge deal that Coach Bennett gave me that opportunity, and you know, fortunately, God willing, God allowed me to take advantage of it.
Right now in this new defense that they're going to run with Ron Roberts, Dave Aranda, whatever, they have the star and the jack linebacker. Were you a combination of either of these, any of these three, bear, hybrid, or nickelback? Which one of those were you, or all three?
So the bear linebacker was the nickelback essentially.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm not familiar with the star or the jack or which one that is, but yeah, I was the nickelback, so it's kind of that combination safety, linebacker, corner position. I wasn't fast enough in position. I wasn't big enough, so they just I found my little spot. And like I said, I didn't make a ton of plays. I mean, I just was at the right place at the right time and tried not to give up many plays.
That's not true. Hold on. You had like 60-something tackles your senior year. I'm not letting you get away with that. You had a hell of a year your senior. In fact, Phil Bennett said he played as well as anyone I ever had play that position. Did you hear what he just said about you?
Yeah, he's being really nice. I know some other Bear linebackers that were really, really good. But no, I really appreciate that, and I appreciate the kind words. It was, God really blessed me. It's amazing to look back at the time that I was at Baylor, and right when I came in, that spot at cover safety just kind of opened up, and God allowed me to take it and played it all 4 years. Got to play with Griff and play in 4 great bowl games, won a couple of I mean, it's just you go down that list, and God it was unbelievable the timing that I was there and the friendships that I established, and getting to play for coaches like Coach Bennett and Coach Bryles. It was just a ton of fun.
Do you still keep in touch with a lot of your former teammates?
I do. I keep, Link Hawthorne and Levi Norwood are, 2 of my best friends. And I was just texting with Spencer Drango. He's up here in Louisville, so I talk to him, once every other week or so. And there's a lot more that I talk to. It's fun. I try to keep up with Coach Bennett and give him a hard time as much as I can, and same with Coach Bryles. I got to see him coach last year, so that was fun. But yeah, I wish I kept up with more of them, but I still do have pretty solid relationships with quite a few of them.
Tell everybody what you're doing now.
Well, I am up here in Dallas. I sell commercial insurance for an independent agency called Swingle Collins. We've got a lot of Baylor guys here as well. And then as far as family goes, I'm married to my high school sweetheart, and we are having our first little girl in November.
Whoa!
So, exciting time.
Congratulations.
One of our sponsors, Ted Teague, said that you married his niece. Is that correct?
Ted Teague?
Yeah, Ted Teague from Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. He's the one that sent me that text.
Gosh, well, I need to figure that out.
Yeah, he sent me that text.
I married his niece?
Yeah, well, maybe he's thinking of the wrong one.
I don't know. Maybe it's one of those other Bear linebackers that we were talking about.
I'll check with him. Hey, man, thanks for your time, Colin. We appreciate your time, buddy.
Thank y'all so much for having me.
Colin Brentz with his former Baylor linebacker, now selling commercial insurance. And he's a guy that, again, earned a nomination for the Burlsworth Award, which is a former walk-on that eventually earned a scholarship. And you're right, Craig. Just a week or so ago, you saw 3 players get a chance to get a scholarship that were walk-ons under Dave Aranda. This is Sikkim 365 Radio.
If you are in the market for a new home, or you're trying to sell the one you're in, you're probably, if you're doing one of those, you're probably doing the other, you need to contact my friend Lance Donaldson of eXp Realty, and he will take you through the process step by step. He's fantastic. He's a fantastic listener. He's going to hear everything you have to say. He's going to find that dream home for you. He's going to find out things that you didn't even think you wanted in a house, because that's the kind of guy he is. And that's important. You're going to need somebody who can walk you through the process. It can be quite a headache. It can also be fun. You're also going to want somebody who's, going to have fun when they're looking at houses with you, and that's Lance Donaldson. So just check him out online, lancedonaldson.exprealty.com, lancedonaldson.exprealty.com.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trust the doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
The biggest, the baddest, and proven to be the best. Ram is back-to-back Motor Trend Truck of the Year. Now, get the Ram you've been waiting for less from your friend in the car business, Alan Samuels. A new loaded-up 2020 Ram 1500 Longhorn 4x4. Now with a whopping $12,000 off. And first responders receive an additional $500. Big summer clearance event savings from the Ram leader, Alan Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Ask for details. All offers with approved credit.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist's office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
This is Sikkim 365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The Sikkim 365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
All right, so high school football in Texas started last week, week number 2. The 5As and 6As just sit there, waiting and waiting. Also, college football opened up with that Central Arkansas win against Austin Peay, and they will have more games this week, including some of the ones I mentioned, including Stephen F. Austin and UTEP, and there's a couple of others being played as well. And then the NFL is what, September 12th? When's the NFL? No,
it's that week. Yeah,
that week of, which is not this week but next. It's all happening. Baseball had their trade deadline come and go. Rangers traded Mike Minor. They traded Chirinos, and they traded Frazier.
Okay, this is from Jeff Wilson of the Fort Worth Star-Telegram on Twitter. John Daniels says the Rangers will be operating next season with a smaller payroll and that their window to contend has likely been pushed back. We'll be listening to trade offers in the offseason.
What are they doing? Like, what is the plan here? Because it wasn't but, 2 years ago when they hit the reset button again already? They fired Bannister. Was that 2 years ago now at this point? And it was like, oh, well, he's just not the right guy in the clubhouse anymore, and la-di-da-di-da or whatever. And they obviously signed some terrible contracts like Rougned Odor. They also picked up some nice pieces. But it's like, if I'm Lance Lynn, I'm pissed that I haven't been traded away, because what am I going to win with the Rangers? Nothing. I'm not going to win anything.
And he and Joey Gallo are probably going to get traded in the offseason.
And I hate that, but it's like, you have no choice, because if you're Joey Gallo, I mean, sure, you could be the Mike Trout of the Rangers, although you'll not get a Mike Trout contract, but you could have that big slugger deal, and you could be like the superstar name on the team, but again, you're not winning anything anytime soon, so you're basically wasting your prime away in Texas. So, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like we had this exact conversation like 2 years ago, and then nothing really was accomplished, and they're already doing it all over again. So what exactly were these last 2 years of baseball, last 2 to 3 years of baseball? I'm not big anti-JD guy like a lot of Rangers fans are. I don't believe that Nolan Ryan was the only reason they ever won things, unlike some Rangers fans. But, I mean, come on. Like, what's the plan here?
Yeah.
Give me a 5-year plan on when to expect them to win, because we basically peed away like the last 3 years. They were nothing.
Though. The ownership has been a mess.
Sure,
one of them is a Baylor guy. Bob Simpson has gotten just evaporated.
Mm-hmm.
They really are.
They can't be found.
You don't even know where they are.
Yeah.
And so I think that has a lot to do with it. And yeah, you're right. I thought they broke it down a couple of years ago so they could build it back up, and now they're breaking it out. If, in fact, they pushed it back, then they're idiots, and JD has to take accountability. And you know how much I like the guy, and mainly because of selfish reasons. He's very accessible, and I like him. But they should have then traded Lance Lynn and Joey Gallo today.
But it might be time for – because I think John Daniels is a good general manager. It might be time for him to be a general manager somewhere else. I'm not talking about firing him. I'm just saying, for his sake, he might as well just go take another job. And I don't know how much in demand he would be after the last couple of years, but look, Dave Dombrowski got run out of 2 places and wound up winning a World Series in Boston. There's tons of guys like that. Andy McPhail went around, and so people recycle GMs, and I think JD would be a great one to have, but maybe right now he's at the end of what his time was in Texas, because and I like him. I'd like to see him stay, but
I think he's fine, but he's not great.
But the other thing that happened, so the big moves today and over the weekend have all been by the Padres and AJ Preller. Well, AJ Preller was with the Rangers, and then he left to go get his own gig.
Because it was his time.
Yeah, it was his time. Well, sometimes when you lose, AJ Preller might have been kind of the power behind the throne, or so to speak, or the guy who was really helping JD out, and he has not replaced him to that level in the organization. So, and now you got AJ Preller, who's built the best farm system in baseball in San Diego, and they traded off They traded off 9 guys, big-time prospects, and they haven't blinked about it. They've got 9 more they're fine with.
Yeah, because they got a loaded farm system, so they can afford to. It's like the Astros a few years ago. They could afford to kind of just give away guys because they had 7 other guys that were still higher ranked in their prospect chart. But all I know is the Rangers are in their first season of this new ballpark, and I seem to recall that when the new ballpark was announced, like there was that. I remember reading articles about how, like, by the time the new ballpark rolls around, right, we're going to be competing again. We didn't want to be competing by the time we're in that new ballpark. They're nowhere close. They're not even anywhere close. They're the 4th or 5th best team out of 5 teams in the American League West.
Yeah.
I mean, they're 4 or 5. Yeah. And the thing is like, not only do you have guys like Joey Gallo or Lance Lynn who are basically just whittling away, I mean, putting up stats or playing or whatever, but not really for anything that's going to ever go anywhere. And you're trying to rebuild your farm system because last time you wrecked your farm system trying to make a couple of pieces to make that jump over to World Series status, and you got close at one point, but that's almost 10 years ago now that you were in the World Series. Like, that wasn't recently at this point, and you've not been good really at all since then. I mean, you've had a couple of teams that got into the postseason or flirted in the AL West or whatever, but for the most part, you've just been a middle-of-the-road team for several years now, and now you're going to break it down again.
That's why.
Like, you broke it down to accomplish what? To just break it down again?
That's why it's timing. It helps with timing when you have a chance to make a trade, whether Teixeira ended up being a bucket load for them, and they've had too many guys now who have left or moved on, and the value is no longer there. And it's unfortunate. Now, if you're Elvis Andrus, who's on the end of his career, you're stuck on this really bad baseball team. And,
well,
I like him.
He's not stuck. I mean, Elvis Andrus, quite frankly, doesn't even deserve to be on this baseball team sometimes. I mean, Elvis Andrus hasn't exactly been lighting it up. I like Elvis a lot. There was a time when he was a really good player. That time is not any longer. He and Odor there in the middle of that infield are not very good. And this Odor thing has become an albatross around their neck. That is never ending.
And they have that huge contract and are about to probably have to just give up on him.
Yeah, I think you have to. I mean, you got to eat that money, and maybe that was part of the reason why he wasn't being able to, or they weren't able to deal him today. But I mean, now you look at the Rangers, and we're getting all these looks at guys like Tavares and Guzman, and that's fun that we'll get to see these younger prospects, and we've had the opportunity to see some of these guys, and it's great that their farm system's starting to get built back up, and clearly that's why you're making some moves like Frazier, Chirinos, Minor. You're getting prospects back, so I mean that all makes sense. But golly, man, like, what are you building on? Because you can't tell me you're building on Joey Gallo anymore. You just can't tell me that. And you're not building around Lance Lynn. You're not building around Elvis or Rugi, or like, who are you building this thing around? And what's the timeline on this thing? Because I feel like I just wasted the last 3-4 years on your promise of, like, by the time we're in the new ballpark, we'll be competing again. What have we been watching?
Well, then it looked at the beginning, pre-COVID. This looked like a team that was okay. Mike Minor coming off a great year.
Lance
Lynn was, was in the Cy Young voting last year. They go out and they went out and got Corey Kluber, who pitched a half an inning for them this year. And so they went and they looked like they were making a move. Well, I think really it feels like from that Kluber injury on that this was just not in the cards for them. So now what do you do with Corey Kluber? Because he's not going to pitch for you this year now. Like, you might as well just leave him on the shelf. So, you'll have him next year, and you see what happens, I guess. But, or do you deal him in the offseason? Because, again, he's a piece that, while not as valuable as he was when you got him, he still has value as a guy who's a Cy Young Award winner.
You can't trade him. He's hurt.
But, I mean, you can trade him in the offseason when he's healthy.
Yeah.
I mean,
here's a couple of Rangers updates.
When you're not very good, things like that happen.
Yeah.
You get a guy that really could have been very important with Lynn, Minor, and then Kluber, and you find other guys and Gibson, and you go, hey, you got a pretty – remember we were talking about that. Looked like they put a pretty good staff together.
Yeah, on paper it looked okay, but clearly it didn't take much for it to fall apart. But some Rangers notes that I've seen here in the last half hour or so, if you – calm down with those pretzels.
I was trying to get Woodrow a couple because I just lost a finger.
I just hear in the background. But Rougned Odor, we don't have to watch him play baseball for a while. He's going on the injured list with an eye infection, so
it's probably why he didn't get traded.
Probably. Yeah. Elvis is back. Will be reinstated along with Brett Martin, so yay. I'm sorry. I love Elvis, but I'm just down in the dumps on like the prospects from here on out because
I'm not down on him. I'm down on him no longer being a value.
Yeah, he's not going to be.
The guy gave the Rangers a hell of a career.
No, I love Elvis as a Ranger. Don't get me wrong, by any means. But like his best years are behind him now at this point. Yeah, like they're well behind him, and I think that's very obvious. And so that middle infield is just not cutting it for you. But Elvis is back. Brett Martin's back, and some more guys are going to be recalled. Eli White and Anderson Tejeda. So. Getting a lot of looks at these younger players in the farm system.
Tavares, who they're pretty high on.
Yeah.
He's going to play a lot. There's a couple teams that have like wholesale just dumped their rosters.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if their managers like, look, I get it, but I mean, is this what you want me to go with for the rest of this time?
Yeah.
I mean, it's still 26 games left for most guys. So
is there really that many still left?
I mean, let's see.
September
33.
Yeah.
So it's 20. So it's 33. Let's see. Atlanta's 19-14. They've played 33 games, so they have 27 games.
The month of September.
Yeah,
you got to play it out. Right? By the way, we asked this question. Somebody asked this question from Mac Rhodes. He'll be with us tomorrow. And they had 12 new cases, COVID. This is Baylor Athletics. 7 that were symptomatic. I think 5 asymptomatic. So that's a higher number than they've had to deal with. And, of course, we heard about the story where they've shut down like 2 floors of a dorm.
Well, it's Martin Hall, and they had to basically put 2 of the upper floors on lockdown because there was an outbreak that they were able to kind of, I guess, target there. However they do that. You know, I was reading about one college. I think might have been Arizona. You know, you've heard about tracking the sewer systems, and you go through people's feces or whatnot, and you're able to pick up the traces of coronavirus or whatever, and then you establish where these sewer pipes are coming from, and then you can locate the neighborhood, and then you can lock it down and do all of that. So that's all, really interesting stuff. But, Martin Hall, somehow or another, they were able to determine that, like, the couple floors needed to be locked down, and so that's been going on the last couple of days. And not surprising with all these students moving back there's a bit of a jump, but 12 is certainly higher than it has been, but it's still much lower than a lot of other places right now.
By the way, Craig just listed the job I've now decided I want least on planet Earth.
Yeah, sorting through excrement for coronavirus traces. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I think that's. I mean, I guess if you're a scientist,
it's cool,
probably,
though,
it's probably interesting. But I'm just saying that if I was going to choose a scientific discipline.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. But think about that they could actually locate, like, they can say, hey, this neighborhood needs to be quarantined because the sewer system is showing us that there's a lot of traces of coronavirus. It's crazy, yeah.
That is absolutely insane. There is a thread, and I've lost it because obviously my LSU's lost. They lost the receiver. Now they've lost both their defensive ends. One of them was Justin Thomas, who Baylor was after heavy. Now they just had a defensive tackle decide he was going to opt out. This would have been a great year for Texas to play him. They wanted him anyway, but golly, it would have been a great time to play him. But there's a thread, and I can't find it now, where a couple of Baylor students are in a dorm and they have COVID. And they're talking about branding. They're using this as an opportunity to discuss. I'm sorry. I
have no, yeah.
Yeah. LSU's Tyler Shelvin informed coaches today at LSU plans to opt out for the 2020 season. I'm going to find this thread.
Yeah, because I don't know what you're referring to.
The dude at Memphis is a pretty interesting and very sad story. He's had 4 different family members die from COVID-19, and so he just decided it wasn't worth the risk for him anymore.
Yeah, and cannot blame him one bit for that.
Here we go. From Dalen D. Blaine 08 put this up. Said, let's see here. Barstool Sports. This ought to be interesting. It's a picture of 2 girls. Baylor is now partnering with student influencers to promote their school and COVID-19 response. This is a story on Barstool, which can always get a little bit dicey. The influencer twins I'm weirdly obsessed with just tested positive for COVID while on campus at Baylor. I'm fascinated with their attempt to do influencer COVID. And it shows them the chat room or whatever. This thread caught my eye yesterday on Twitter. Yeah, I know, shocking. 2 college girls caught my eye. Classic Barstool. Am I right? Anyways, I guess these 2 young ladies found themselves with a case of COVID-19, a truly awesome post to let everyone know that you have COVID. And they start talking about branding.
Yeah, this is like...
Ann Helen, at ANNE Helen, is the one who put it up on Twitter.
Yeah, you may have heard, if you're Baylor, about Brooklyn and Bailey, like these twins that are social media influencers or whatever. And so I guess they've got COVID, and they've been on their social media pages talking about having COVID and really promoting the school and talking about, why they came to Baylor and why you should come to Baylor. Yeah, they're being used because they've got a big following, and they have influence on college-age kids or kids who will be going to college, and so they're doing that. And I think they're just kind of pointing out that they're promoting the school, I guess, and they're just looking for a reason to talk about them, I suppose. I don't really know.
It says Baylor can pay their own students to promote their school, which, by the way, I'm fine with. But if they did that with one of their student athletes, the NCAA would throw a fit. However, remember now, that can happen here pretty soon, like in January.
Texas just launched a full-blown video today on how much money you can make if you come play football for Texas.
Longhorn student athletes will be able to develop personal brands with UT's new Leverage program, launching soon. Student athletes with curriculum in areas like financial literacy, taxes, making business decisions. So that's out there. I know that Jovan has mentioned this. With Baylor's already been kind of ahead of the curve, not ahead of anyone else, but that they've had this kind of listed. Speaking of which, last week we had Mac Rhodes, and somebody, I believe it was on the chat room or also on the text line, asked about the distribution of the tickets that people either renewed, opted out of, or possibly donated to the school. And Mac said he was going to try to get me the numbers, and I have them. 65, this was as of Friday, 65% of season ticket payments to Baylor were deferred to 2021. Those who had already paid for their tickets for the upcoming season starting on September 12th, or what was going to be even before then, 65% of season ticket payments were deferred to 2021. 20% refunded. This group still gets the first right of refusal to renew their tickets in 2021 and can still purchase single-game tickets this year. 15% retained through donations and season ticket status for suites and loge boxes. So does this mean that 15% renewed and 85% either deferred in some way towards next year, but can still, if they want to, the 20% can still buy season game tickets? We'll have to ask Mac about that tomorrow.
Yeah,
is that 15%?
I wonder what number they were hoping for, though.
Well, I mean, if people are deferring, though, those would be people that would be in that percentage that are just not going to be for this year, though.
Yeah.
So
it means that they haven't. They none of them asked for. Apparently, I'm not sure about how many asked. 20% refunded, but they can still get first right of refusal to renew their tickets next year. Even though 20% got their money back, they can still buy single game tickets this year. 15% retained season ticket status for suites and loge boxes. 65% then pushed back their payments that they've made for the 2021 season.
Gotcha. Well, those loge boxes are going to be really popular for the games. Yeah. I mean, and they would be regardless, even if everything was completely normal. But especially now, I mean, with everything going on, you'll love to be in those box seats watching a game.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be the best place to be, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Of course.
Unless you're in, like, Dr. Livingstone's suite, the one up in the top right corner, or the one, those are some dudes now.
I think we're kind of splitting hairs at that point because my lifestyle, at least, just any loge box would be an upgrade over no loge box. So, yeah, Dr. Livingstone does, I think, have the higher end one, but there's everybody there's still all driving Porsches practically, right? So, hers is maybe a little bit of a newer model, I guess. Yeah. That's an elite way to watch a game.
So, this Rangers thing, we'll have Levi Weaver will join us tomorrow after John McClain. It'll be late in the show.
I can't wait for Levi to
He's
break
a
this down.
A little bit different.
He's, you know what? He's a young baseball writer that is well on his way to being like a cranky old baseball writer, and I love it.
Full on grouch.
No. Well, he watched TR.
I mean, that's what you learned
probably.
from TR. I sat next to TR in the press box one of the Rangers games I covered, and it's hilarious just to listen to him. You know, some pitcher that's terrible comes in, I don't know why they do this.
And then 162 times a year.
There we go. Yeah, but TR is, you know, he's rough on the outside, but he's gooey in the center, you know, like, but I like that. I like sitting when I would go cover these games. The cool thing about doing your show at the Rangers game is John Blake gives you like a whole booth that we can sit in the whole night. And so you just kick back and watch the game. But I did the last time I was there, because I was there by myself, I did sit next to the baseball writers for a few innings, just because I just love the people watching of the baseball writers.
First time I ever encountered T.R. Sullivan was in Port Charlotte, Florida, Rangers' former training camp. And I walked up on him. He was interviewing a player. And he gave me a look like, what in the hell are you doing here? Like, for one, I had a right to be. I had a media badge and everything. I was trying to get some stories. And he looked at me like I had just walked in on and, like, pooped on his floor. And so he
would have been an amazing introduction.
I mean, he was, and I always just like, God, this guy. And then slowly but surely, because there were 20-something years in a row, I was at Rangers training camp. And then what the kicker was, I started asking him to come on the show, which was, you know, again, depending on the mood. Then we started doing a weekly segment with him when I was in my last, 3 to 5 years in Tyler, and even here. Mm-hmm. And once you're in his inner circle, you're in his inner circle. Yeah. Great guy, great baseball writer. But you're right, curmudgeon, and that's been like that.
But
most baseball writers are like that.
Every team has at least one or two T.R. Sullivans.
Yeah.
Because that's.
Well, but he's the godfather. He and Evan Grant, of course, a little bit. Yeah, I never could get much response out of Evan. That's fine. But, you know, when you have guys around that covered them, and then the columnists, like Galloway and company that covered him. Oh, my God.
Galloway's not a curmudgeon at all.
Luxa. Last Thursday, I sent him a text and told him about Butch, that Butch had passed away. And he said, man, did I repeat this already?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he was upset about that. He really was.
By the way, you went to the visitation. It was really good to see. I hadn't seen Barbara in a long time, and it was. I hate that you had to be under the circumstances, but I will note this for people that I wondered, because I never saw Butch in a suit unless the Big 12 required him to on the scores table. So I thought, are they going to, but he was in. It was Butch, and it was good to see him one last time, dressed as Butch.
No, he was.
And his
he
Tommy
was,
Bahama knockoff
very,
shirt.
Very, very comfortable. Yeah,
it
was a very long line. Yeah. Of course, the people who loved him were there. Many people. One final thing, any of you who got a little bit upset, perturbed over what Baylor's football team did on Thursday, Nick Saban led the Alabama football team along with Charlie Strong and Bill Byrne. Is it Gary? Who's the Alabama? Not Bill Byrne.
It's his kid.
His brother. His son. The AD at Alabama. They had a walk across campus, and they had big old signs.
By the way, I guarantee you, even in Alabama, one of the most conservative states, there's not going to be many Bama fans like, well, that's it. I'm done with Bama football.
No,
they're not.
No.
You know what?
Because they know that that's a lie.
They know that's a lie, but quite frankly, anybody getting upset about this is just wrong. I'm sorry. Like, you're overreacting a bit, and mostly I'm thinking of somebody who's reacting the way that guy was reacting towards Baylor the other day. It was just so over the top and angry for something that has been done on tons of college campuses over the last week. Was in no way like, anything other than just a walk across campus with some signs and just some prayers and some talking, and like, that's all. And like, look, you go to college to open your mind, right? You go to college to be around other people. You go to college to hear people's thoughts on things, and maybe you attend a protest about something you feel really passionate about, and that's college. And so I just never understood the overreaction by a very small amount of people, but a couple of people nonetheless over, well, that's it, I'm done watching Baylor football. You're done watching Baylor football because a bunch of players and their coaches all walked across campus promoting racial positivity and trying to be mindful of the current circumstances and just trying to, I guess, move forward the conversation or open up the conversation, what have you. It's all meant to be very positive. It's not anti really anything. And so I don't know. Maybe it's a generational thing. I'm not quite sure. But anybody who is overreacting to that, I think you just need to kind of tap the brakes and realize that it was not that big of a deal what you were so concerned over that caused you to want to stop watching a football program entirely. That's ridiculous.
Well, everyone has – I agree. I think a lot of people just initially – I'll tell you this. As much as black people are fed up with their treatment of what they perceive and or is true and or both, I think there's still a segment of society that's tired of having it jammed down their throat as well. That doesn't mean that that you're like, can you ever just turn on the TV or get on Twitter without that being the story?
No,
but this is a very volatile, and I mean that in a very positive way, topic. It's kind of what built this country, and it's going to not